Jim Forrest played in the very first European tie I saw, which was indeed here against Hornbed way back in 1970. Frank McDougall had some European highlights as well, both remembered, and now the current Aberdeen team look to make their names in European competition. Commentary from Rory, from Willie and from Thomas Duncan.
Thanks, Richard. 16 long years since Aberdeen hosted a group game in European competition. This time it's Barry Robson's side, their turn to write their own story. Dave Cormack, when he came in, he stated he wanted Aberdeen to be a top 100 club in Europe. They're well outside that, and if they want to meet that target, if they want to be the kind of club that Dave Cormack believes they can be, it's tonight. It's nights like this where they need to pick up results. It's not just about getting to Europe, but making sure you get results while you're here. And as Aberdeen get things underway, Kel Roos sends it long, headed away by the Helsinki captain Tenho, and immediately the referee's whistle goes for a free kick. I think it's perhaps Aberdeen will have it. It's a foul on Rubizic is going to take this free kick, but Aberdeen so brave out in Frankfurt. There's a massive gulf between the two sides financially. Not here, not so this evening. Helsinki, the Finnish champions, on course for a fourth straight title, but they are not lavished with riches. It should be a competitive outing as it's hooked up in the air. Aberdeen come forward trying to hem Helsinki in, and that's what they'll try and do, get their tails up and get on the front foot early on. Helsinki also playing with a 3 at the back, 5 at the back formation, trying to make it difficult for Aberdeen to break through. And it's Garteman who's going to take the throw in just in front of us, in front of the main stand on this near side. He's going to fling it into the box, and this will be a chance for Aberdeen to test the Helsinki defence. And Garteman's actually gone short. Back to Nicky Devlin, right-footed chip cross up towards Duke on the edge of the area, headed away only as far as Clarkson. Shinnie picks up, and there was a foul, or offside actually I think, against Duke as the ball came back in. Free kick. And our first chance to get the thoughts of Willie Miller on the opening couple of minutes.
Well, I think that Aberdeen would want to try to be as positive as they possibly can in the opening exchanges here and get Helsinki test them mentally and physically by constantly putting the pressure on them, and to do that they've got to have control of the ball, obviously, but they've got to cause problems in the final third.
Devlin fouled after he received a free kick, the pass from Clarkson. It's Keskin in with a foul. It's gone quickly. Now Gartenman helps it forwards, headed away again only as far as Clarkson, into the feet of McGrath midway through Helsinki territory. Looked for the switch of play, Aberdeen, but it doesn't go to a red jersey, and Helsinki will get possession, but Aberdeen getting the press on. It's forced all the way back to Ørsted, goal, and he goes long, and then Rubizic comes through the back of Radulovic, who will be the danger man this evening for Helsinki. 22 goals. Rubizic, well, he is an aggressive player, and he came through the back of the striker there. And Helsinki get on with things. Here's Tuivio, an experienced Finnish defender, with it in his own half. It's helped forward to Lingman, and Radulovic, who's dropped deep out to Filip Rogic, who's taken it down the right hand side, and on to Soiri. And to Lingman, he's chipped it in looking for Soiri, who gets it on the byline. He's hooked it to the back post, but Nicky Devlin is there to head it away. Bojan Miovski's dropped into his own half to try and pick it up, but the ball bounces over him. Clarkson goes in, and then he takes a sore one. Late challenge by Kanalopoulos, I think.
Yeah, it looked poorly timed, that one, I must say. It looks a sore one. Be interesting to see if the referee gets his cards out. I don't think he actually seen it himself. I think he went more off the reaction, and he's just going to have a word with the player. Bright enough start from Aberdeen. However, Helsinki shown in that little passage of play that they can play, and they can play well.
Absolutely. Although, as Rory mentioned pre-match, their away record in Europe is not a great one. Not won any of their away games before they've played this season, as they tumbled from the Champions League into the Conference League. Just got the job done against Faro Constanta in the playoff rounds. Managed to overturn a away defeat at home. And they are strong at home, and that perhaps makes it all the more important for Aberdeen to get a victory this evening before going to Helsinki at the end of November. Here's Gartenman over the halfway line, down the right-hand touch line. He's looking for a run from Miovski or Devlin, doesn't get it, and it goes straight behind for a goal kick. 0-0 as we hit the 4th minute mark here at Pittodrie.
Well, it wasn't really on that ball, was it? And again, I think he's pushing it for me, I think Jensen there should be looking for midfield players to play it inside rather than to try and just play it over the top there. It wasn't on to play it over the top anyway. Majowski was nowhere near getting on the end of that one.
Aberdeen pressing Helsinki in their own box are playing out, and that was quite neat, and it's up towards Radulovic, but Rubezic steps in this time, wins the ball, and then there's claims for a foul. Rubezic is on the edge of the box, tries to put it between the legs of Rogic, and the advantage was being played, so it will be a free kick to Aberdeen about 30 yards out, almost right hand edge of the box.
Yeah, it's good refereeing, really good refereeing from Daniel Stefanski, I must say, because he lets the play go, and Big Rubezic tries to jink his way through the Helsinki defence, and he can't get there, and it's brought back for the free kick. But I tell you, Helsinki are taking a lot of risks at the back. They're playing in really tight areas, no disrespect to them. I don't quite know if they've got the composure and ability to work through that Aberdeen press, and any Aberdeen opportunities so far or sniffs have came from Helsinki losing the ball in their own half.
Leighton Clarkson's going to take this free kick with a right foot. He whips it in towards a 6-yard box. It's too close to the goalkeeper, who punches it with both hands out towards the far side. McGrath's come across, he's won the ball, he's kept it in at the corner flag, he's gone past his man, he's got Rogic in front of him, helps it back, it's whipped in by Jensen, cleared at the near post, out for a throw in on the far side, and Aberdeen trying to play with tempo, put Helsinki under pressure.
I think they've got to, early on in European games, I think you have got to get them tested, because they'll not be used to playing the game at this pace and being put under the sort of pressure that Aberdeen are trying to put them under.
Back post ball for Majowski, gets a head onto it, he was looking for Duke, but the strike partner was quite far away, and Helsinki clear. It's turned over, here's Keskinen, and Helsinki can break. They're across halfway on the left hand side with Kanalopoulos, but he's forced back to Raitala, another one of the experienced Finland internationals, over 60 caps, played at the Euros. And here is the captain, Tenho, centre back, and Aberdeen have managed to kill that counter-attack stone dead and force them back, and Helsinki will build again, and they've done it nicely. They're over halfway with Rogic. He drifts out to that right-hand side. Shinnie closes him down, puts it backwards. And I think Helsinki, if you're looking for comparisons, I don't think they've got the quality that Häcken had when they came here, the Swedish champions. They took risks, played out from the back, but they were very technically accomplished. And now Helsinki come forward, so he's trying to get round the back of Jack McKenzie, who recovers well and puts the foot through it, clears it up to halfway. And here's Lingman, flicks it forward for Rogic, who's midway through the Aberdeen half. He slipped the ball into the box towards Keskinen, who tried to take it inside Rubezic, who stood strong and got a foot in, put it behind, but it is a corner for Helsinki.
Yeah, Helsinki in possession in the top 2/3 of the pitch look a lot more composed than they do when they're under pressure in their own half. And they've shown a couple of times now they can play and they end up with a corner there. Rubezic is so rash at times, and when it works, it comes off great because he can nick the ball, but other times he's far too eager, Willie.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he was going to dive into the challenge there in the box, which he shouldn't be thinking about at all, but he steadied himself and he got the touch on it for the corner.
Corner comes in with the left foot, it's headed away as far as Raitala. He's going to send it back in with the left foot. It's too far for any of his teammates. It's headed away up to the far touchline where Kanalopoulos collects. He's going to send it in low with the right foot into the box. Keskinen has space to take a touch, but it was a loose one. Aberdeen turned the ball over, and it's up to Majowski. Lays it back to Shinnie. The pass wasn't great, but Shinnie gets it back to Majowski, who turns wonderfully, pirouettes away from his man and gets it away to Nicky Devlin. That is a man in form, Bojan Majowski. Here's Devlin over halfway, gives it infield to Clarkson, who looks for the running behind of Majowski, and if that pass went to the feet of Majowski, he was in behind the Helsinki defence, but it didn't, and the Finnish side recover.
Yeah, what a turn from Majowski, I have to say.
Rogic wins it off McGrath in his own half. Here come the visitors again, stabbed forward for Kanalopoulos. McKenzie reads it, turned over for Shinnie, out to the left-hand touchline where Duke has it, plays it back to Richard Jensen, playing up against many of his international colleagues and teammates, as well as the manager, Toni Korkiakunas, who is a coach with the Finnish national team. He was talking yesterday about how he's been on the messages to Richard Jensen, getting the mind games in. Here he is, Jensen infield for Rubezic, wearing the pink boots, right-footed pass along to Gartenmann. So he got his first goal for Aberdeen and Ibrox at the weekend. It's a long ball which is easily picked off by Lingman. He's over the halfway line, he's got a bit of space to run into. Shinnie's come across, but he's not going to get there. Gives it to Keskinen on the left-hand side of the box for Helsinki. Pulled it back for Lingman, who's hooked one to the back post. Aberdeen don't clear, and then Rogic on the right foot skews it wide of Kelroos's left-hand post. Well, that's a warning sign for Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's a chance, a big chance, isn't it, from Rogic, because he's not under any real pressure. You would expect him to get his boot over the ball there, get his body over the ball and drive that towards a goal. He leans back, and it's an awful attempt for him. He's inside the penalty box as well, and I think it was Jensen at the back post. He got beat with a header too. So defensively, not a great episode for Aberdeen, but they've survived it rather luckily, I would suggest.
Shinnie's a bit isolated here, facing his own goal. Gets it away to McKenzie, back to Jensen, who sends it long, but it's rather aimless over Duke, and easily falls, but then it's forced behind by Tenho, the captain. Plays it back to the goalkeeper, but he's overhit it and put it miles away from the goal, and it's gone behind for an Aberdeen corner.
Yeah, as I've already said, they do look nervy at the back three of Helsinki. They do look quite nervy. Leighton Clarkson's having a lot of the ball in the midfield. He was very unlucky after Miofsky's magnificent turn in the middle of the pitch not to play him in. The second time he puts his team under pressure with a pass, I'm not really sure what he's seen, but he gave the ball away in the middle of the pitch, and Helsinki had a chance to go one up. But once again, their frailty at the back shows, and Aberdeen have a corner.
Clarkson corner, puts the left arm up. He's going to deliver with the right foot into the near post where Jensen's waiting, flicks it across. He was in so much space, and he's put it wide of the post.
Oh, he's totally free. It's a simple run. He doesn't have to jink, he doesn't have to move. He just makes a straight diagonal run towards the near post. He's not picked up, and he should do much better. It's right onto his forehead, and somehow he manages to put it way by the back post. Big chance for Aberdeen.
Do you wonder though, Willie, if maybe his job is to flick that on for Miofsky? I don't think he realises the space he's got, because I wonder if in training they've worked on him getting to the front post, flicking it on for the guys rushing into the box, but I don't think he realises how much space and time he's got.
I think you have to though, don't you?
Yeah.
Rory, I think you've got to be aware of what's round about you. When a chance like that crops up this early in the game, you've got to be able to take it. It's a big opportunity.
Well, Rubezic has just fouled Radulovic again. Radulovic is dropping very deep to get the ball, and Rubezic is charging all the way out, and he's right on the back of him. He's not giving him any space, but he's given away 2 fouls. He's won the ball once, so he's going to need to be careful with that one. Helsinki go short, back to Tenho, the captain in defence. First time pass to Raitala around the corner for Radulovic. Again, Rubezic follows him. This time he wins the ball, but can't keep it under control, and then there's a claim for a handball on the deck against Raitala. It's given by the referee, so it'll be an Aberdeen free kick just inside the Helsinki half. It's Aberdeen 0, Helsinki 0. Nearly 12 minutes played here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We brought you commentary from Limassol earlier. Rangers going down in their Europa League group to defeat Celtic, of course, losing in the Champions League last night. Can Aberdeen get a result this evening? Started fairly brightly. There's been a chance at either end. Jensen with a header wide, Rogic with a shot wide as well. Here come Aberdeen down the left. It's back to Jensen, left centre half, gives it infield to Rubezic, who got a call up for the Montenegrin national side this week. First game against where he was born and bred, Serbia, in European qualification. That'll be interesting. Here's Kelroos, the goalkeeper, with the ball at his feet. Right-footed pass out to the right-hand touchline where Gartenmann collects. Infield to Clarkson, who's dropped in, but he's under pressure from Kanalopoulos. Has to give it back to Gartenmann, who then scoops it up for Miofsky, who can't get there. And it's breaks back for Aberdeen. Gartenmann puts the foot through it again. Duke wins the first header. Doesn't fall for McGrath. Tuivio gets there, and then Shinnie gets there in midfield, and he got a real good contact on it. I'm not sure if what he was trying to do. If he'd just taken something off that might have been a decent pass in behind, but it went through to Oost, the goalkeeper for Helsinki, and it's goalless here at Pataudry in this Conference League Group G clash. We'll keep you up to date with what's happening. PAOK against Eintracht Frankfurt, the other game in this group. It's miscontrolled by Suidi on the right hand side, out for a throw in to Aberdeen, bang on the halfway line. And you can see certainly what the guys have been saying, that Helsinki are not the tidiest in possession in their own half, certainly. And again, they're putting themselves in bother here. Here's Tuivio right on the far touchline. He does get a good pass through to Lingman, who's got a bit of space to pick it through. Aberdeen didn't close down, and here's Rogic, looks for Keskinen in behind. Aberdeen defend that one. It breaks for Jensen down the line. Duke tries to hold off his marker, and he's actually got the free kick. Duke, good strength. from the diminutive forward.
I thought he did well. He has got strength. He's really sturdy, and he does hold the ball up well, although his strength is definitely when he gets 1v1 and he's able to use that pace. But he's capable of taking on strong defenders and holding the ball up. And he did extremely well there, winning the free kick. And of course, Clarkson, his deliveries are normally very, very good.
And he's the last man back, going to take this one. Again, puts that left arm up. He's ready to take it. He's delivering it high with the right foot. It's going to the back post where Gartenmann is lurking as he was at Ibrox on Saturday, but it went over his head just and behind for a goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, in general play, both teams know how important the match is, and Aberdeen are starting with a 5 at the back, and it's almost the same for Helsinki as Suari and Raitala. They drop back in to make it a 5, and Aberdeen are trying their best to pop the ball around them, but it's difficult with the numbers they've got back. And then Helsinki are trying to go on the break, and Keskinen up front has actually been, for me, their most influential player so far, picking up little pockets.
PAOK lead Eintracht Frankfurt in the early stages of that match in Greece. Here's Rubezic. Wins the ball this time off Radulovic, gives it to Devlin in the Helsinki half. He's pinged it to Duke, headed away by Toivio, and it's flicked on by Rogic to Clarkson, and then gives it back to Rogic, and a strong challenge from Shinnie on Rogic, and Aberdeen have it. It's helped into the path of Devlin, but it was too far in front of him. Turned over, Kanalopoulos, but Miovski's all over the back of him and wins the ball initially, but again can't just control it. And here come Helsinki with Raitala down the left touchline onto Keskinen, the 20-year-old, infield to Lingman. Left-footed pass, but it's straight to Rubezic. Gives it to Shinnie midway through the Aberdeen half. Looks for options out to McKenzie on the left-hand side. Infield to Shinnie, who gets it back. He's going to drive over the halfway line, Graham Shinnie, and he's chipped the pass again towards Miovski. Aberdeen perhaps they're looking for that pass a wee bit too often in the early stages. And here come Helsinki. Radulovic back to Kanalopoulos, into Raitala, and it's back with Peltola, the left centre half. He's going to ping it with a right boot, the big switch of play, but it's into the south stand, and it's 0-0, 16 and a half minutes played. But I don't know what you think, Willie, whether Aberdeen are maybe trying to go in behind maybe too often.
Too often, yeah, absolutely. I think they need to take an extra touch in midfield. I'd like to see them linking a bit better in there. McGrath is playing really, for me, far too far forward. I would like to see him dropping back. Remember, you've got Duke and Miovski up there. I think they need a little bit more space as well, and just take that extra touch in the midfield, get the three of them to work together, and get your wing backs going and joining in as well, rather than just trying to play that killer ball over the top.
It's a pass from McKenzie into Shinnie, who's won the challenge and turned away brilliantly. He's driving over the halfway line. He's got space in front of him. Kanalopoulos comes across, puts the challenge in, but Shinnie got the pass out to McKenzie on the left-hand side, drops his shoulder, comes in field and looked to slip Shinnie in on the left-hand side of the box, but they weren't on the same wavelength, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was not only a great tackle, but it was actually a great touch from Graham Shinnie to get down the side, drove forward, and he wanted it back from McKenzie first time actually. McKenzie takes the extra touch and they end up not being on the same wavelength.
That PAOK goal's actually been ruled out by VAR, so it's goalless in the other game in the group. PAOK and Eintracht Frankfurt in Greece. Aberdeen with a bright enough start here up at Audrey as they look for their first win in group stage football in European main draw competition for 16 years since that night against Copenhagen when Jamie Smith scored twice. Richard Foster also on the score sheet. Jimmy Calderwood's side setting up that tie with Bayern Munich in the last 32, where they got that draw before being heavily beaten out in Germany. Aberdeen want those kind of nights again. And here's McGrath midway through the Helsinki half, right foot back to Gartenmann, who's forced to turn away. A few groans in the main stand as he turned on his heels there to go backwards. That's across to Jensen. He's in his own half, and Aberdeen just taking maybe the sting out of the game slightly. Helsinki organised, shaping up well as the pass goes into Miovski, who's dropped back to the halfway line, gives it back to Gartenmann, and again it's long with the right foot. Raitala's going after it. He's under pressure from Devlin, and Raitala has to hook it out for a throw-in. and Aberdeen will perhaps have a chance to get this into the box.
Yeah, the crowd might be groaning, but it goes to show what Willie was saying a minute ago is absolutely right. A few extra passes, you wait for the timing to be right, and a ball over the top. Yes, you're not finding the man, you're finding the space, but the space is there. Whereas before, when you're trying to force it, the space isn't there, and they end up with a throw in high up the pitch.
Gartenmann will take this one. He's gone right back to touch the main stand. He goes on, flings it in. Rubicic over him, and then it doesn't fall for Miofsky. Rogic just gets it away to the edge of the box. Here's Shinnie driving out towards the left corner of the box, tries to force it into the box. It's blocked by Rogic. I think that's gone out for I can't tell if that's gone for a throw or a corner.
I think it's a throw-in.
Yeah, in front of that section Y at Pittodrie. It is a shame it's packed out in the home end, but away section rather empty. Maybe 50, 60 or so fans over from Helsinki for this one. It's going to be flung into the box from the other side this time to the near post. Rubicic has stayed up. It's headed away by Kanalopoulos. There's Devlin in front of Keskinen. Gives it to Gartenmann, who's going to cross with the right foot. Oh, thinks about Cullen. Duke gets the head onto it, and the goalkeeper makes an instinctive save to deny Duke.
He's just got to get more on it, isn't he? It almost just skips off his head there. Goalkeeper's in no man's land. He doesn't know.
He's lucky, doesn't he?
He gets away with that one. Comes off his line. He shouldn't be thinking about coming off his line there. There's no way is he going to make first contact with that ball, and Duke makes the first contact, but he just doesn't get enough on it to put it over the goalkeeper's head.
Gartenmann throw, combines with Clarkson, got space to cross with the right foot, headed away by Tenho, the captain for Helsinki. Devlin helps it back, it pings back towards the halfway line as Helsinki clear. Jensen goes after it. I just wonder if Duke was taller there. The head contact they might have gone on, it might have gone over the keeper because he was well out of his goal.
Yeah, I don't think Duke also was expecting, and maybe this comes back to what Willie was saying before, a bit of awareness. I don't think he knew that the keeper was coming rushing off his line, so I think he's just concentrating on directing it and using the pace on the ball to direct it into the net, but the keeper was right behind him.
Down into space for McGrath, but Peltola comes across and read it well and sticks it out for another Aberdeen throw-in in front of this main stand. Devlin throws it to Clarkson, who's seen quite a lot of the ball. Devlin in field to McGrath, corner of the box. He's going to put it to the back post where McKenzie's round the back, but it was always asking quite a lot of Jack McKenzie, and it goes behind for another goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, you can see what he was trying there.
Yeah, but did he have better options? I think maybe taking another couple of touches. He wasn't under pressure, maybe trying to set it up for himself to have a strike-out goal. You could see what he was trying to do, he just didn't deliver it properly.
Helsinki again playing right out from in their own box. Aberdeen get the press on, and it's pinged forward, and then Rubicic, ball goes in behind him, but he's going to get there ahead of Radulovic comfortably. Back to Keller-Roos, who pings it forward with the right foot. It's deep into Helsinki territory. There's a bit of head tennis in the middle of the pitch. Gartenmann back to Devlin, who gets the body in front of Keskinen and buys the free kick. Clever defending from Nicky Devlin. Well, Helsinki, I mentioned their away form in Europe, their home form is excellent. They are in decent form overall, just that one defeat at home to PAOK in 7 in all competitions. Can clinch the title on Sunday, when they play. They had a good 3-0 win at the weekend, so they are absolutely no mugs. But again, it's perhaps not the quality we saw from Haken as Duke chases another ball in behind. He's going to get there, and he wins the corner. A back heel off the defender and wins the corner. It's brilliant from Duke.
It is. It's sharp thinking, isn't it? Because you can't do really anything else with it. He gets his body over the ball, little back heel, wins the corner. Because the ball was running out. It looked as though it was too much for him, but you know the pace that he's got.
Fans love that as well, that determination.
Yeah, the Duke chants rang around Pittodrie, and Leighton Clarkson will take this corner. Swung in into the 6-yard box. Duke went up. It's pinged out to the other side, and it's going to run out for a throw-in to Aberdeen. Gartenmann goes quickly to McGraw's in the box, thought about shimming away, collects it, pings it to the front post, and Miofsky got a touch on it, but then the flag goes up for offside. Aberdeen certainly creating chances, Willie.
Yeah, well, the Helsinki defence is switched off there, and the set piece is taken quickly, and McGrath, you think if he could just take it in the one movement, because they were all over the place, but he doesn't. He decides to stop it, take a touch on it. I think on that occasion he could have let it run and played it across first time. Eventually plays it across, does quite well, and Majowski gets on the end of it, but he then deflects it back to McGrath, and he's in an offside position.
Rogic wins it, battling with Shinnie though, who eventually comes out the winner. Here's McGrath in his own half, gives it to McKenzie, infield to Clarkson, who with a right foot pass, he's found Duke right on the left hand touchline. Delicious ball from Leighton Clarkson. Duke's one-on-one with Tuivio. He surges into the box. Duke's cross is blocked, but that was danger again from Duke, and he then goes back and slides in and blocks the clearance from Tuivio, and he's the man in the mood.
Yeah, fans will react to that, especially in this country. That hard work and determination. You work your socks off and give everything, and Duke's shown it twice the last couple of minutes. But I have to say, in the last 10-15 minutes, Graham Shinnie's really grown into this game. He's in great form. He's breaking up that midfield. He's driving forward. You know, he's ordering the players around, and I think he's showing signs of really starting to take control of this match.
Here's Duke, left hand side, held it up, gives it to McGrath. He's on the left hand touchline, he's twisting, he's turning, he has to go back to McKenzie, who thinks about the cross, he dummies, then he drives, then he does get the cross in. It's over Majowski, and then a sclaffed clearance miles into the air and behind into the Mertland stands, and it's a corner to Aberdeen.
It's a great delivery. You know, it's a really difficult one. Okay, I think it's Raitala that has a swipe at it and puts it away for the corner, but it's a difficult one to defend. You know, it's so precise.
You'd have brought that down, Willie, and played out. Come on.
Clarkson's corner, right foot, near post. Gartenmann's in, gets the flick, but again it doesn't fall for anyone in red. It's out the other side of the box with Majowski, left foot, blocked by Radulovic, and it goes back to McKenzie, and Aberdeen will have to start again from the centre circle with Devlin. Out to the right hand side, and Gartenmann down the pitch to Clarkson, intercepted by Suiri, and another Aberdeen throw. They've had a lot of throw-ins on this near side.
They have, and they've dominated the last 10 minutes, but you know, in European ties, you know, they're not going to dominate the rest of the game, so it is a bit of a cliche. They have to score while they're on top, because they're having a really good period in the game at the moment.
The crowd are buying into it, and here's Gartenmann. He takes a few steps, runs up, flings it in, headed up in the air by a blue and white striped shirt of Helsinki. Here's Gartenmann, right foot, and towards a penalty area. Majowski gets a head on it, and the keeper was scrambling, but it drops wide of the post.
Yeah, it's a good effort, isn't it? Because, you know, Rory, you'll know better than me, but to get power on the ball the way that Majowski actually got power on the ball there, and direction too, he's so unlucky just to see it slip past the post, because it's actually an awkward one. He's got to stoop down as well, and he gets great kind of a power behind the header.
Yeah, he uses his neck muscles to try and direct it into the corner and the skid off the surface, but he's very unfortunate to see it just drift by the post.
It's Aberdeen 0, Helsinki 0. 27 minutes played in this Conference League Group G match. Live on Sports Sound. Helsinki free kick. Duke penalised just over the halfway line.
Looked harsh, that, Thomas.
Yeah, just looked to have got his body in there, but the referee Szymanski says illegally, and it'll be a Helsinki free kick, and they're just going to take their time over this because they've been under the cosh for the last 5 or 10 minutes and try and just sting out the game. Go short to Kanalopoulos. Peltola back to Tenno, the captain, and Clarkson's come a long way to press him, and Aberdeen, you can see, are just shutting them down while they try and play it from the back, but then the foul has been conceded again over on the far touchline, and Helsinki will get the chance to start again. Aberdeen, you can see the ploy, as they've clearly worked out that this team, if you press them, they may just cough up the ball.
Well, they want to play it, and they'll play it in really tight areas, and they start everything from the goalkeeper with a little short 6-yard pass to the two centre backs, and want to build it up. So absolutely, you know, I think you have got to press them in the hope that something eventually breaks for you.
Majowski around the corner, almost for Clarkson. McGrath's battling but can't get a hold of the ball. It's cleared by Helsinki. Rubizic touches it away from Iskinen. He's twisting and turning himself back and facing his own goal. Gets away to Roos. That's not a great clearance. It's taken by Kanalopoulos on the chest midway through the Aberdeen half. He puts it with the right foot along to the left hand side, and Raitala, the wing back, and then he's forced to go backwards to Peltola again. Infield to Lingman, the central midfielder, and then Kanalopoulos back out to this left hand touchline, and Veskinen. And right-footed pass forward onto the edge of the box, cleared by Jack McKenzie with the right foot up towards the halfway line. It's sent back by Tenho, sent back again by Jensen. Peltola will come across a really poor touch, and Miofsky straight onto him, and he gets there in time to knock it back to his goalkeeper, who goes short to Kanalopoulos, who just touches it away from McGrath. Helsinki living dangerously, but it's nice composure from the Finns at the moment. Here's Tenho, the D, edge of his own box, nudges it forward. Aberdeen content to sit off him as he goes for the long pass. Kjell Roos comes out his box, it bounces once, and he gets the short pass away to Richard Jensen, who's under no pressure, takes a couple of touches, gives it to Shinnie, the captain. His 22nd European appearance for Aberdeen, and as Rory said, growing in influence as the Dons try and get themselves in front in this first half. They've had chances, not taking them so far. McKenzie back to Roos, and Helsinki just step up over to Gartenman from Roos, who's coming right out to this right hand side when he gets the ball. Helsinki force him to go back to the goalkeeper once more. They try the other side with Jensen, helps it on first time to Clarkson. Infield, Duke turns on the halfway line, he's away from one, tries to go away from another. Kanalopoulos closes down the space, gets a challenge in though, and wins the ball for Helsinki in their own half, and then they can play. Here's Kanalopoulos, chips it, tries to get in behind Jensen, who watched it all the way and headed it to the feet of Shinnie. Turns, he's looking for a pass, he's found McGrath, he's got a bit of green space in front of him, looking for a passing option. Devlin's close, he nudges it onto him on the right hand touchline. Here's Devlin asking for someone to come near him, goes back to Gartenman on halfway, infield to Clarkson, a couple of touches to the feet of Devlin again. Devlin are along the ground, back to Gartenman. Both sides just feeling each other out at arm's length at the moment. Jensen, left-footed diagonal pass for McGrath, who gets the flick on to Devlin, who flicks it down the right-hand touchline, and Miofsky will get there. And he's in fact leaves it for a throw-in because it's taken a nick on its way through, and it'll be a Helsinki throw-in, 0-0.
Yeah, it's good patient play by Aberdeen. They have sussed out Helsinki in terms of what they're doing, and I think Barry Robson has made a few intricate changes within the game in terms of getting Clarkson slightly deeper, and as Willie said earlier, McGrath's dropping slightly deeper. It's given a little bit more space, and that's credit to Barry Robson. You know, his tactics have been questioned at times, but very, very good to notice these types of things.
Gartenman doesn't beat the first man with a throw, but it's come to McGrath on the edge of the box. His shot with the right foot was blocked, I think, by Rubezic. In the end, Clarkson sends it back in with the right boot to the back post. Duke battling, good strong nudge onto Kanalopoulos, and now he's on the left hand touchline. He's putting a couple of step overs in, twisting and turning away from the infielder, tried to get to the byline, he's still got it. Duke, he's still going, and he's just taken too heavy a touch, and then he's fouled the Helsinki player over on the far side, perhaps just, and he's down in a bit of pain, Duke, and then the Helsinki player's not happy with the way he's gone down, and then the Aberdeen player's coming across to defend Duke, including the captain Graham Shinnie, standing up for his player.
He couldn't find a way out there. You know, I think he tried everything. I think eventually he tried a little nutmeg as well, but it didn't come off for him, and then he's collided with one of the Helsinki players, and he's rolling about. I think that's what they're complaining about, isn't it? You know, he's made it look much worse, you would believe, than what it was, because it was almost shoulder to shoulder when he went down. But maybe he's twisted something, maybe he is in pain, maybe I'm being a little bit disrespectful on him, but was it an elbow that went into him, perhaps? So yeah, it's a body knock, so he should be okay.
Even if it was an elbow, I mean, Duke flings himself at the defender. It wasn't like the defender kind of motioned towards Duke, it was the other way around, and you know, Peltola just kind of stands there, and Duke, I think it was frustration, because as well he said, he tried his best to shimmy and shake his way into the box, and it was good defending, and then he just throws himself at Peltola.
Well, I think it's perhaps an elbow to the head, which if that is the case, I wonder if that'll be checked in the background for a possible red card. There's no indication that that's happening here at the moment. I suppose it depends whether it was an accidental or whether he leads with the elbow, but I'm sure Aberdeen, I'm just looking at a replay here, here's the challenge coming up. Oh, he does lead with the elbow, and he catches Duke right in the side of the head. I have to say, he stuck the elbow right out to kind of get his body between the Duke and the ball, but he's led with the elbow, and he's connected with Duke in the side of the head. So again, there's no indication at this stage that anything is being checked, but I'm sure Aberdeen will have a few questions for that one, and Duke is still down.
His elbow is high, just looking at those pictures there. It is high. I can't quite see from this distance, but I don't know if the player's looking at Duke as if to say, I'm going to put my elbow into his face. It's more that Duke tries to get the ball and barges into him, so it'll be an interesting one, but he does catch him with the elbow. I think it would be a bit harsh if this was to be a possible red card, if that's what VAR is checking.
Yeah, it's more head to elbow than the other way around, isn't it? I thought that it was just he got frustrated, he was losing it a little bit, kind of launched himself at the player. Yeah, the elbow was up, but I didn't think that it was intentional in any way, and I think Duke basically brought it on himself.
Well, he's over on the far side, still receiving treatment. Duke, incidentally, PAOK are now 1-0 up at home to Eintracht Frankfurt in the other game in this group, and this will be a lengthy delay. It'll all be added at the end of this half. Helsinki, well, they'll probably welcome this, because they've been under a bit of pressure in the last 5 or 10 minutes, and this just takes the sting out of the game. The crowd quietens down, and they are a team who've got decent experience of European football in the last couple of seasons. This is their third campaign in the group stage in a row. They were in the Europa League last season, only got 1 point in a group, but it was a tough group with Roma, Real Betis and the Bulgarian champions Ludogorets Razgrad. They got a point off them. They were in the Conference League again the 2 seasons before that. They won home and away against Alashkert of Armenia, lost the rest of their games. Maccabi Tel Aviv took some heavy defeats there, and Lask of Austria as well, but they have got decent experience at this stage of the competition. And Duke is still down. It'll be a concern for Aberdeen, and there's almost a hush that's come over the stadium.
Yep, the Willie Miller flag's back out again as we wait. I quite like that moustache. Willie, when did you decide to get rid of that? I think it quite suits you.
It's not going back. Many have tried to persuade me.
Yeah, it's the flag over in the red shed, as it's called now, to our right hand side, and Duke is back on his feet. Looks like he's going to be okay to continue. The 2 stretchers that had been walked on in his direction are being walked briskly off round the touchline. We've not actually played 36 minutes, we've played about 32, 33, so we'll have 3 or 4 added at the end of this first half, and it is Aberdeen 0, Helsinki 0 in the Conference League. Live on Sports Sound, and on we go. Clearly, if that was checked in the background, the officials have not deemed any foul play in that challenge, and Helsinki play on. Here's Peltola, the defender, up towards halfway, right for the pass along the grass to Raitala. Back now to the captain Tenho, over to the other side, his fellow Finnish international Toivio, and in field now to Kanelopoulos, and Duke applauded, and his name sings out from Petodre. He's back on the pitch, he's okay. And here come Helsinki with Lingman midway through the Aberdeen half, but Aberdeen have everyone back in their shape. That's a nice touch from Keskinen, and he's jinking into the right hand corner of the box, gets the shot in, it's low, it was straight down the throat of Kelarus. But a little glimpse of what he can do when the ball's at his feet and given some time and space. Yeah, I said earlier in the game, I think he looks the most dangerous player. I know they've got Radulovic, but he looks like he's kind of a penalty box striker who'll hold the ball in and get his goals within the box. But I have to say, Keskinen, good feet there, bit of a timid shot, but certainly looks like he can play. Oh, and there's a clear high boot from Raitala that's caught Devlin again. I think it's a case of Raitala going to clear the ball, and Devlin came in to try and win the header, and he's caught him in the back of the head, and the free kick has been given.
Again, the head's going down as well. I think it's difficult. Defender's just trying to clear it. Devlin goes, he stoops down to get his head on it. The referee decides it's a free kick. I think that's all that is required. Yeah,
don't think he even saw him. Here's Clarkson with the right foot into the back post where Duke is. Again, it falls for a Helsinki jersey, and there's another Aberdeen player down in the box. There's going to be another stoppage. Duke, and I wonder if there's a clash at the back post. Is it McKenzie? Is it not Jensen perhaps over at the back post with Duke? Both of them steaming in there.
Yeah, they were desperate to get to it, but I mean, it's just sensational, the deliveries from Clarkson. It's
top class, that was. Yep,
perfect. So difficult to defend against. It's appetising for the 2 players that went for it, and Duke and Jensen obviously had a head collision at the back post, but the delivery fabulous.
Yeah, and well, Jensen is now down as well, and that's a concern, and Miofsky seemed to gesture to the bench there, that substitution, as if he thought that the game was done, but it was up for Park on Saturday, and Cal McGregor did that to Greg Taylor, and then he came back on the pitch, and it looks like there's a big gash from looking at pictures here. A lot of blood coming from Jensen, and Duke having just had a head knock. You do worry about players with repeated blows to the head as well. Duke, he's back on his feet holding his head. Jensen, there's clearly blood from the pictures we are seeing here. He's clashed heads with Duke, I think. It's just another sting taken out of the game, but it's not ideal for Aberdeen there. Well, what it's definitely telling you is that they're flinging bodies into the box and they're attacking it with everything, and they've come off second best in terms of, they've been in the wars, that's for sure, and Barry Robson looks one slightly concerned.
Looking at a replay, it looked as though it was Jensen's ball though, and Duke has kind of got in the way. It was a good opportunity as well. I think Duke at times has just got to calm down a little bit, and understand what's round about him and make decisions a lot better than the decision he made there, because Jensen looks as though he's suffering.
Yeah, he does, and the stretcher has been walked back across towards the goal. Richard Jensen lying in the 6-yard box. There's lengthy discussions going on the touchline as well. Been told there's a bad gash in Duke's ear as well, so it's not certainly been in the wars, full-blooded contest. But yeah, Willie, it's Duke. It's good that he's up for the game and he wants to contribute, but he's, it's not the best phrase, but he is trying a bit too hard. He's a bit frantic.
Yeah, I think when he got the initial head knock a few minutes ago, he'd lost his composure, and he had kind of thrown himself into a situation where he didn't really need to go. And maybe he's still feeling that frustration as well, and unfortunately he's made that collision with Richard Jensen at the back post, and I think if he wasn't there, it looked as though Jensen was going to get a good header on it as well. It was a big chance, but both of them just collided. He needs to really think a little bit more about his game.
I think it tells as well, Thomas, during this break and play, Barry Robson's, the Aberdeen players will go down, they're getting a drink, they're having a chat amongst themselves, but then you look at the opposing dugout, and Tony Kokiakanus of Helsinki is really trying to get his message across in terms of what the issues are out there, because Aberdeen are they've dominated the last 20-25 minutes, and he's not happy, the coach, and he's trying to get his message across to stop that happening, whereas I think it's just a case of keep doing what you're doing for Barry Robson and Aberdeen.
Well, Richard Jensen is on his feet, he's standing next to Duke, and I wonder if it's a patch-up job or whether it's his night done. Johnny Hayes was being stripped and ready on the bench. He's standing there, he's still got his warm-up top on. I wonder if he'll be told to sit back down, or whether Richard Jensen is going to have to come off here if he's showing any signs of concussion or anything like that, and he's got a bad cut. Unless it can be patched up safely, then you need to get him off the pitch. He's holding some cotton wool or something, a bandage to his head to stem the flow. He's jogging over outside the box towards the touchline, and it looks like he might need a few stitches, and he might be back after that, we'll see. But Johnny Hayes is sat back down by the look of it, so we'll see what impact this has on the game, because as you say, that
Barry Robson's lack of sympathy there, did you see that? He was walking off the pitch because they want to get him back on, and he's like, hurry up, run in the tunnel, get it stitched up and get back out on the pitch.
Well, Aberdeen are not going to make the change now, which you would have, so they're going to play with 10 men. There's 2 minutes left, plus a lengthy amount of stoppage time. I'd say maybe 8 or 9 minutes added at the end of this second half, so there's a lot of time to go, and that's a bold call.
Yeah, it is, because Jens is a very good player, but McKenzie could just slot into be the third centre back, and Johnny Hayes can go out there and play the left wing back. He's done that on many occasions, so it's a big call from Barry.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's going to become of Rhys Williams, given that Johnny Hayes was the man to be readied, and McKenzie, as you say, was going to shift in.
Well, in the interim period, Jamie McGrath's now at left wing back, and Duke has had to come into the three in the middle, and Barry Robson's screaming at Duke to get back in. he's going to need to be disciplined here, Duke.
Well, having dominated the last 20 minutes or so, this is a big test for Aberdeen. They're a man down. They've chosen not to make the change of Richard Jensen. Now McGrath gets a challenge in on the far side. Kanalopoulos wins the throw-in right next to the corner flag, and Helsinki, having received instructions from their manager Toni Korkiakunas, will try and inject some life into their performance. They've got it on the right hand side. It's Come Field that's back with the centre half, who's midway through Aberdeen territory. It's back again to Peltola in the centre circle. He's under pressure from Clarkson, just gets it away to Tenho. Right footed pass up the right hand touchline, collected by Rogic. He's got a man outside him, gives it. It's passed along the deck to Lingman. Then Lingman gets it back. He thinks about the cross to the back post. He thinks about it again. He puts the left footed pass along the grass to Peltola. Right footed chip to the corner of the box on the right hand side. Touched in field. Rogic takes a touch. McGrath forces them out the box. Helsinki probing, and it's forward for Keskinen. He gets it onto the byline. He keeps it in on the right hand side. Helsinki coming forward, it's whipped into the near post, and Rubicic gets the head on it, and it is 10 added minutes at the end of this first half after injuries to Duke and Jensen. And Aberdeen are a man down at the moment. They've chosen not to make the change. It's a big call. They've got 10 minutes to either get Jensen back on the pitch or to make a change or to hold out. Corner goes short. Here's Kanalopoulos, right footed cross, flicked away by Devlin. It's out for a throw into Helsinki on this near side, up towards the corner of the Aberdeen box. Peltola, short to Raitala, gives it back to Peltola, along to Kanalopoulos. Now it's middle of the pitch with Lingman. Jinks back in field to Kanalopoulos. Slow build up from Helsinki, but they're keeping the ball. And here's Keskinen, forced to face away from goal, gives it backwards to the centre half Peltola. In field for Lingman, he's about 35 yards from goal, gives it with the left foot out to the right hand side, gets it back on the right hand side of the box. He's coming in field, can't get the shot away, twists back, then does get the shot away with the left foot. Is it going to break on the byline for Kanalopoulos? It doesn't, and it's cleared out for a throw in on the far side to Helsinki, who are keeping the pressure on. It's taken quickly. Aberdeen down to 10 men with that Jensen injury. We're into the 10 minutes of added time here at the end of this first half. It's still 0-0, and Aberdeen get a precious free kick. Jamie McGrath fouled over on the far side, and some respite.
Yes, indeed, a good period of play for Helsinki there. Just during that period, Craig Sampson came down to the dugout and I think was getting a fresh strip for Jensen, who has obviously got blood on his shirt, so I expect to see him back out, given that that's the case. But you can see as well, when McGrath's back in that position, he actually does pretty well in the end, but they were targeting that side, Helsinki, for a spell there, with McGrath and Duke trying their best to defend it, and they've got through it. And if they can get Jensen back on the pitch, I think Barry Robson will be happy with that, because he's obviously keen to get him back out.
Still no sign of him, Richard Jensen. Kellerus will take this free kick. Right foot up into the Helsinki half. Miofsky is underneath it, doesn't win the header. Tenho wins it. It breaks for Kanalopoulos, who nods it back. Helped on towards Keskinen. Aberdeen win it. Forward for Miofsky. Back to Clarkson, and it's loose in midfield from Aberdeen, and Clarkson concedes the free kick, and Helsinki will have the ball midway through their own half.
I think Miofsky can turn there, Thomas. Yeah. I think if Clarkson shouts to him, he can turn on the ball and really get at the back line of Helsinki, but what he does is he goes back the way, and it gives the Helsinki midfield time to get the other side of him again.
Here's Kanalopoulos. Helsinki coming forward. Keskinen left hand side, moves infield again to Kanalopoulos in central midfield, over towards the right hand side now with Tuivio, the centre back, out to Soiri, who takes on McGrath, and he tries to fizz it across the box, and McGrath gets back really well with a sliding challenge. And here comes Richard Jensen with a pink headband and all, frantically trying to get back on the pitch for this corner. The UEFA official lets him back on the pitch, and he's going to get on to defend this corner.
Yeah, but Jamie McGrath, I'll tell you, he's done exceptionally well in that wing-back position. That's 3 or 4 occasions that he's had to defend, and he's done it exceptionally well.
Corner to Helsinki. The danger not done for Aberdeen in the final 3 or 4 minutes of this first half. It's still goalless, and the referee not happy with something in the penalty area. There's a lot of holding going on. bodies everywhere in there. Left-footed delivery comes in. Rubizic towers over everyone to power the header away to the far side, and that's what he's good at. And it's collected by Kanalopoulos. Goes back to the goalkeeper, Ost, who is under no pressure, and he still can't pick out a good pass. He's pinged it out on the far side, and Richard Jensen will go over and collect, and it'll be an Aberdeen throw. And that was a bold call from Barry Robson, Willie, to stay down to 10 men.
Yeah, it was. I think you have to make these decisions. I'm not so sure if he knew that it was going to be 10 minutes right enough that was going to be added on. You knew it was close to half time, but 10 minutes is quite extraordinary to be added on. Well, maybe not in the modern game, but I think it shows you how important he feels that Richard Jensen is, in that left side of the defence. Yeah,
that back three has been consistent in the last 5 or 6 games. Jensen, Gartenmann, Rubizic turned over in midfield. Helsinki will try to break. Here's Keskinen, lays it back, but Shinnie gets back and puts a foot in. He's not managed to win the ball from Rogic, but he put him off enough to stop the counter, and then it's a foul on Raitala by Devlin, and Helsinki will get the free kick in their own half.
They've done that a few times. They don't need to do that. They don't need to commit the foul, because Helsinki will give them the ball back. Just apply the pressure.
Ball forwards, Radulovic, who's been very quiet, comes deep, gives it back to Tenho, the captain and centre half. He crosses halfway, gives it to Radulovic, who helps it with the outside of the boot onto Kanalopoulos. He's coming up towards the edge of the box, out to Raitala on the left hand side, puts the left footed cross in, cleared again by Rubizic, out for a throw on this near side. But Helsinki, those stoppages have certainly helped them, and here it's thrown in to Peltola, right foot pass across the back to the other side, infield again to Tenho. Aberdeen get back in their shape. Helsinki at this wave have no way through, and again it's forced back to Toivo, the Finland international defender. He gives it to Lingman, who's had to drop into his own half, but he burrows forwards and then gets the pass off to Radulovic, who again's dropped deep onto Kanalopoulos. Right footed pass out to Raitala on the left touchline, left footed cross, not dealt with hugely convincingly, but it does go out the box from Aberdeen, and then Shinnie wins it in midfield, tries to help it to Miovski, but it's too far for the Macedonian. But Helsinki go back to the goalkeeper, and the fans at Pittodrie just starting to get a little nervy. Aberdeen, who have been in the ascendancy for most of this first half, but those 2 lengthy stoppages and losing Richard Jensen for 3, 4, 5 minutes has disrupted them, and it's now the visitors who have control. The half-time whistle is imminent. It's goalless. Here's Radulovic, he's all the way back in his own half, gives it off to Kanalopoulos, right-footed pass, short to Lingman, back to Kanalopoulos, out to the other side, but Helsinki slow in their build-up. Aberdeen holding firm. Miovski goes to close down Peltola. He has to go back to the goalkeeper, Ost. Right-footed long ball to Radulovic, who wins the header, but he's only given it to Clarkson, who gives it back to Jack McKenzie, and Aberdeen finally have the ball back. Here's Jensen with that pink headband into Shinnie. Passing lane is blocked, so he has to turn away and gives it back to Rubizic at the heart of the Aberdeen defence. Out to the right-hand side, and Gartenmann has put it along the deck, down the touchline for Miovski. It's asking too much of the striker, and then Aberdeen get the throw.
Peltola's calf, I think, just nicked the eyes. He went down there. You could see him wince as he was chasing it down. I think it was maybe his calf or his hamstrings just went there. And it's not a bad ball that into the space, because they're not dealing particularly well with it, Helsinki, and Aberdeen are getting opportunities from the throw-ins high up the pitch.
Yeah, and this is the never-ending first half, because the whistle is yet to go. We're deep into 10 added minutes, and now Mate Peltola's calf may have gone, and he's on down receiving treatment, and we're going to have another stoppage.
I think the medical staff could have shown a little bit more energy getting on the park there, though. They were walking and almost burst into a jog.
Not warmed up, clearly.
The first header from these Gartenmann throws, which are, most of them have been almost level with the 18-yard box. They've won the first contact, Aberdeen, whether it be Rubizic or Miovski or whoever it may be. It's that second one when it goes in, in deeper into the box, just looking for Aberdeen players to time their run, and just any nick could take it into the back of the net, and what a time to score it would be if they could grab one.
Absolutely. Gartenmann, again, he's touching the wall of the main stand right down in front of us. The Dane, he's going to line this one up as Peltola he's going to be replaced, and well, Jensen was able to play on. It's going to be a substitution for Helsinki, and Aberdeen fans all around furious. It's going to be Thomas Olila. He's going to come on. He's got 10 goals in 34 appearances this season, so it's not necessarily a weaker player coming on. Aberdeen with a chance to test him. He'll defend the front post as Gartenmann goes to take this throw in, lines it up, flings it in with both hands, and it's cleared. It was over Rubicic, and then Keskinen goes in, and Rubicic steamed up and just got there first. There's a loose header from Clarkson, and it slides in from Rogic. Keskinen's in behind, he's after it, he slips or regains his footing. Clarkson gets back and just gets the foot in, but the flag was up for offside in any case, and Aberdeen get away with one.
Yeah, a little bit scrappy. Poor pass from Clarkson. Don't see too many of them putting his defenders in and giving them real issues, having to deal with it, running back towards their goal, particularly this late in the half as well. You just want to get yourself now in at half time, get reorganised. The game has been disjointed really with all the injuries that both teams have had to deal with.
Kellerus will take this free kick. I wonder how many of the over the 10 they're going to add for that Helsinki injury. Devlin heads it on the touchline, keeps it in. The defender misses it, falls for Miofsky, right hand corner of the box. His cross is blocked. Gartenmann wins the loose ball, but his touch is heavy. It allows Karnalopoulos to go in and win it, and now Helsinki will try and break through Keskinen. He's up to the halfway line, he's over halfway. The sliding challenge goes in from Jamie McGrath, who's putting a power of work going back the way, wins it cleanly out for a throw in on this near side.
He's been fabulous, hasn't he, Jamie McGrath? Both at wing back and then in the midfield. They're putting a great challenge and timed it really well.
We've played 11 minutes of the 10 added. Here's Duke. He's got a lot to do midway through the Helsinki half. Has to turn back and give it to McKenzie. Infield for Shinnie. Clarkson's wide open, he's asking for it. Shinnie delays the pass, gives it to Miofsky, who dropped in, who gives it first time to Rubicic, who's bang on the halfway line in the middle of the pitch. Across to Jensen. Left-footed pass up to Duke, left-hand corner of the box. He's holding off the defender brilliantly. Then he lays it out to McKenzie, who thinks about the cross dummies. Infield to Jensen, who's up from defence, back to McGrath. Jinks in on the right foot, gives it back to Jensen. Chips it to McKenzie. Back again to Jensen. It's out on the left-hand side for Aberdeen. Infield for Shinnie. Up to the edge of the box. Duke lays it off for McGrath. Tries to give it back to Duke, and it was in front of him. But it's back to Gartenmann, who lets fly. He was encouraged to do so by the crowd, and that was ambitious, and it flew well wide of the target. Aberdeen 0, Helsinki 0. And there is the half-time whistle. Well, it's been full-blooded, and it's been gripping, it's been entertaining. And Aberdeen, you have to say, have been the better team overall in this first half. They've had the best chances. Richard Jensen with a header that he should have hit the target with. He glanced it wide. Duke had a header after the keeper made a mistake, and then it sort of hit off the goalkeeper. He got away with one, and then Miofsky as well generated good power and a cross that came into the box and headed just wide. Helsinki's best chance fell to Rogic just inside the box. His right-footed effort skewed well wide, and then at the end the Finns came back into it after those injuries to Duke and Jensen. Aberdeen managed to keep it at 0-0 while they were down to 10, while Jensen got some treatment and back on, sporting a fashionable pink headband. But there's nothing to choose between the teams at the break. At half-time, it's Aberdeen 0, HJK Helsinki 0.
Aberdeen in the Europa Conference League.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
It's been incredible. Actually, that is, it's just on 9 o'clock, and we've only just reached half-time. The game kicked off at just after 8 p.m. So goalless here. A few talking points there. Actually, you do wonder about those head knocks and the impact that might have had. Louis Lopez down twice, and the second time head-butted by Richard Jensen, who had to go off. He's back on. He's got the He's got the strapping around the forehead, which I don't quite get, because the cut is actually in the kind of fleshy bit above his eye, just underneath his eyebrow. So I'm not quite sure what the wrapping, the bandaging is doing on his forehead. And you've got to say that Lopez has kind of fallen out of things ever since his 2 knocks, and you wonder if he's feeling the after effects. And it's such a dangerous and concerning issue, of course, when it comes to those head knocks. Anyway, I'm sure the players will be getting assessed at half-time. We'll get further reaction from Rory and from Willie. Earlier, we brought you the game in the Europa League. It was a disappointing night for Rangers Aris Limassol, winning by 2-1. They've been 2-0 up in the game. Muketo Musunda with the opener, a glancing header. Babička slid home in a counter-attack just about the hour mark. Rangers, I mean, their only impressive player really in the second half was Sima, who made some kind of impact, got a goal, but it wasn't to be enough. And Aris Limassol beating Rangers 2-1. Real Betis were 2-1 winners against Sparta Prague. So the 4 teams in that group all have 3 points. Stephen Davis, the interim manager, sat down in the media conference afterwards to give his reaction.
Stephen, can we get your thoughts on that one?
Really difficult night, because we felt there was a real opportunity to come here and build in the Betis game. I think we caused a lot of our own problems in the game. Obviously the 2 goals we give away we're really disappointed with, and when that happens then it gives you a mountain to climb. There were obviously defensive errors for the goals and on show as well throughout the night. How concerned are you with that? And obviously as interim manager, what can you do to try and rectify that? Firstly, I've got to take some responsibility. As I say, it was a really disappointing night. I think in the first half we kept trying to play in the middle of the pitch. It wasn't really on, and we're getting counter-attacked from that, and they were good in the transitions with the pace they had up front, and it caused us problems all night with that. Obviously, whenever you go behind the second half, you do have to throw a little bit of caution to the wind at a certain point. We try to simplify the game really in terms of putting Kamar on there and trying to get the ball in behind them or get it wide and cross into the box. And ultimately, we didn't do enough to take some from the game. But in terms of the effort for the players, I thought they really kept trying to go to the end. And in terms of the energy they put into it, I couldn't have asked for any more from that respect. There was a lot of talk pre-match, wasn't there, about your appointment acting as an inspiration for these players. They were talking about taking responsibility and bouncing back from recent bad results. How disappointing that didn't seem to be on show tonight? I think that's a matter of opinion, really, to be honest. Like, as I say, I thought like the energy to keep going. I think everybody was trying to do the right things in many ways. There wasn't a lack of effort or anything like that there. I would never question that from the dressing room there, but it's a really difficult moment that everybody's in, and when that happens then maybe you start to make the wrong decisions and different things like that. But yeah, obviously I take a lot of responsibility. I'm happy to do that. It's my role whenever I'm in here to try and support the players as much as possible and give them the opportunity to try and get back to where we want to be. And obviously Sunday's coming up now. It's a really quick turnaround, so we're hurting from tonight, but it's important with us as a group we stick together.
Steve Davis, well, it is going to be quite a game for Rangers on Sunday. They're in Paisley to take on St. Midday kickoff. We'll get that one live, followed by the game here at Pittodrie as Aberdeen take on St Johnstone at 3 on the Saturday. Of course, Celtic Kilmarnock, Dundee Ross County, Hearts against Aberdeen, and Livingston against Motherwell. The reaction there from Stephen Davis, like a difficult evening for him, just in terms of replacing Michael Beale in the short term at least. He was hoping for more, said he was happy with the effort, the energy, but they were certainly down in terms of quality. And to be fair, that could have been an even heavier beating than it was. So 2-1 Aris Limassol against Rangers, 2-1 Betis against Sparta Prague. In the Conference League in Aberdeen's group, PAOK are 1-0 up at half-time against Eintracht Frankfurt. Andrija Zivkovic with a goal in the 28th minute. They had one chopped off by VAR a little earlier. And of course it's 0-0 here at Pittodrie. Haven't been too many gliding opportunities, a few for Aberdeen, nothing really happening in that sense for Helsinki. I'm not sure that Rose has had to pull off a save, but the game kind of Not an awful lot was happening, Willie, after those head knocks for Lopez with the defender. Then Jensen heading Lopez, the big delay there. And although there was some good defensive work by one or two of the Aberdeen players, and McGrath, you highlighted, it's kind of, this team's gone out of it in terms of Aberdeen and its attacking force, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's disrupted the flow of the game. There's no doubt that Aberdeen were on top at the time of these incidents, and having to reorganise and obviously play for, I don't know, what a good 8-9 minutes, perhaps 10 minutes even. Not too sure how long Jensen was off. I'm amazed he came back on, Willie. I don't know. Did you see the close up of the card? I didn't know.
It's a gaping wound above his eye.
Wow.
It's like the kind of cut you see boxers. It's just. And they patched him up very quickly. I'm going to say, he might have been off for 8 or 9 minutes, but as one of my mates said, you'd wait 6 hours at Forster Hill to get that done. Which you should say it's a hospital in Aberdeen.
Listen, old Doc Cato would have had it done in 2 minutes, Richard, and your eyelid would have probably been stitched to your eyebrow just to get you back on the field of play. No, I think, you've got to take your time with these things nowadays, haven't you? I mean, player safety is paramount. But I was surprised to see him coming back on. I would assume that he's maybe get 3 or 4 stitches in it then. It looked a really heavy knock. But the thing is, when you're down for that long, it's really difficult for players to get their momentum going again. And of course, it gives Helsinki a lift, because they enjoyed all the possession at that time, and we know that if they're given time, then they can pass the ball and they can keep that possession, and it just took the impetus out of Aberdeen, because Aberdeen at the time were doing extremely well, and they've got to find that impetus again in the second half, the energy again in the second half, to break down this team. I think they've got to show a little bit more creativity. I feel Clarkson's delivery from set pieces are very, very dangerous, but in general play, I think they need to find a little bit more creativity in and around the Helsinki box, because there hasn't been too many opportunities. It's all been headers, really, hasn't it? Jensen header. I thought he should have done much better with that one. I think that was a glaring opportunity. Rory was right to point out maybe they have been working on it, and maybe it was in his mind to flick it onto the back post. But he got himself so clear that you've got to then change your mind and actually have a go for goal. And then Duke, I thought, was a little bit unlucky as well. Goalkeeper totally stranded. Then Majowski managed to bring out quite a long range header from just inside the box. Other than that, Aberdeen haven't really created much. They've had a fair bit of the possession, but these 3 opportunities have been the best that they've managed to create. So I think they've got to be a little bit more creative, or maybe even a big bit more creative in the second half to win this game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting just to see if indeed Lopez and Jensen both back out and they both can contribute. Certainly Lopez in the wars twice in the space of a few minutes, latterly head-butted by Jensen as they both went for the ball, previously elbowed by Kanalopoulos. Should it have been a red card, Rory?
No, I don't think so. Not for me. I do take on board that Kanalopoulos' arm is high, but I don't think there's a direct movement towards Duke. You're screwing your face up, Richard.
Because he has a look as he runs across.
So you've seen the pictures closer than I have. So I couldn't see whether he actually glances at Duke or not.
Oh yes, he makes sure that he knows exactly where Duke is.
Right. Well, the movement,
but Duke's out of control. Yeah, I think this is the issue, Rory. Yeah. And how I saw it, he was out of control. It was Duke that was running about, and he had to show the calmness. And I'll tell you what, if you've got someone that's lost control and he's running at you, you're going to try to protect you in some way, you're not.
Well, he certainly. I mean, I think that's probably a very fair assessment. Well, that is it. For me, that's what happens. He sees him coming, and but he makes sure. I mean, it's a deliberate.
He makes sure, but Duke
hasn't went like that.
It's Duke for me that instigates the contact and diving into
it. It was almost like a comedy moment until you actually realise and you see the contact. You see how serious it could have been, but it was the way he fell. It was like a sniper had caught him. You're running towards him, and suddenly he was down. And initially, he couldn't see exactly what happened. I had no idea what was going on.
To answer your question, in my view, it's not a red card. No, I think if his arm motions towards Duke, you may have a conversation on your hands. However, I don't think there was enough of that motion to suggest that a red card should have been shown. But the game has become so bitty in terms of Aberdeen did start well. after getting to grips with Helsinki's formation, which I think at the start was causing a few problems, because they've got that bank of 5, they've got that bank of 4. However, what Keskinen's doing is he's cheating almost, so he's not coming back in to make up the bank, and the bank of 4, he's kind of playing up closer to Radulovic, and what's happening is he's picking up the ball in difficult areas for Aberdeen, because they do the midfield go with him, do the defence push up with him, and it means that Aberdeen then need to run back the way. So Helsinki want to try and win this game, that's clear. They had a massive chance through Rogic, which I think it can maybe come off its shin and ended up in the stand. But Aberdeen have had enough chances, probably haven't been pretty in the way they've been, orchestrated. But they have had chances. I think Duke is, I agree with Willie, unlucky. And Willie spoke about the other chances as well. So, look, I don't think it needs to be pretty tonight. Okay, of course you want to play fast-flowing football and on the European stage, show yourself in a good light. But I think everyone in this stadium, other than the 60-70 Helsinki fans who have travelled over, would bite your hand off for a 1-0 regardless of how it comes about, because I do believe that if they can get 3 points in this match, I do think Aberdeen are capable of having a wee go at qualifying from this group. So 3 points tonight's vital, and I for one don't really care how they come about.
Yeah, they've got the double header with Pauk, of course, to come, and Pauk are 1-0 up against Real Betis as things... against Eintracht Frankfurt as things stand. Willie, what have you made of Helsinki? Have they been much as you'd anticipated, bit better, not as good? Where are you standing?
I think probably a little bit better than what I was expecting. I mean, they can certainly pass a ball, and if they're given time, then they would enjoy passing the ball, but they haven't been given a lot of time. But you have seen, passages of play where they've been in control of the ball and they've managed to zip it about. They don't look as though they've got much, up top. Keskinen, I think, is probably their danger, the danger man when he's dropping in and picking the ball up and running. He's finding a good bit of space. Radulovic has been...
Rubicic has done well on him, because his style of play, Rubicic, is high risk, but when it works really well, and then the strikers struggle to deal with it.
He ends up going away into the midfield, doesn't he? Away from the danger area, which is great. So they haven't shown much in front of goal, and I wasn't expecting too much in front of goal. I think it's down to Aberdeen. I think the game's here to be won, but Aberdeen have got to be better. They've got to be more creative. They've got to pick the right passes as well, and I think it will come. I think they're good enough to take this team, particularly at home. I think it'll be much more difficult away from home, but tonight, I'm with Rory, it's got to be 3 points.
Aberdeen players back out, getting themselves ready. They are awaiting the arrival of the Finns, and here they come, the visitors. They are making a change, it would seem, at the interval. Big defender getting ready to come on. Here comes the referee, ball in hand. So goals at half time. It has been an extraordinarily long first half. We're already at 14 minutes past 9 as we see the change being made. Number 5 on for number 4 for Helsinki. The ball finally reaches the halfway line, and we can get up and running with Willie, Rory and Thomas.
Yeah, Helsinki making their second change. So Christopher Dagraka, who played against Pauk, big centre half, he's on for Gina Toivo, who is also a centre half, so it looks like a straight swap in the middle of that back three. They've obviously had an enforced change as well. That first half with Peltola going off after what looked like a calf injury. Aberdeen have 45 plus whatever may be added after that eternal first half to try and get the job done here and get on the board in this Europa Conference League. Helsinki get the second half underway, shooting left to right towards the Merkland stand. Aberdeen turn over the ball here through McGrath and immediately get a free kick as Rogic had his arms right round McGrath, and they will look to pick up not where they left off at the end of that first half, but more how they performed in the opening half hour, you would think. And here's Rubicic with the right foot across to Gartenman, back to Roos, the goalkeeper. Helsinki, you do wonder if they can clinch the title on Sunday, whether they might have half an eye on that. It would be perfectly understandable. And here is Aberdeen with a long ball forward for Miofsky, doesn't get to it, and he does get the break of the ball the second time round, nudges it back to Clarkson, who's out on the far side. He's chipped away from one, and then his pass is intercepted. It's back to Gartenman on the right hand side, infield to Shinnie. Gartenman goes back into his own half with the pass to Rubicic. And across to Jensen. On to McKenzie, right on the halfway, on the left-hand touchline. Doesn't have an awful lot of room to work with, but Aberdeen work it out and into space. And just trying to keep hold of the ball and probe for an opening. And as I say that, Clarkson decides enough's enough and puts the right foot through it. He's looking for the run of McGrath, but Ten Hag comes across, reads it and sticks out for a throw, but Aberdeen gains some territory.
It gets you up the park, doesn't it? You know, it's not particularly pretty to watch, but it's a decent weighted ball, you know, so it's not just going to run out for a goal kick, and it forces a defender into making a choice, and Aberdeen winning the throw-in.
Throw-in goes short to Clarkson, gives it back first time to Garton Man, going to cross with the right foot. It's all the way to the back post. It doesn't actually reach the back post because the goalkeeper Ost was able to claim it with both hands. And you have to say, Aberdeen definitely had the better chances in that opening 56 minutes, but the goalkeeper Ost hasn't had anything, that one thing to do really. The Duke header is the only save he's made, and they'll look to change that in this second half as Helsinki get the throw in on the far sides. Helsinki manager Toni Korkiakunas down in front of us wearing a white baseball cap. He was the assistant the last few seasons as they won a league title and qualified for the group stage. Came in July, and here's McGrath edge of the box, looks in for Duke, but De Graca read it and stepped up and won the ball. That's why he's been brought on at the break. And now Suiri looks to move up on the counter-attack. He's up to halfway, infield to Radulovic, back to Suiri, comes infield into the centre circle, right-footed pass away to Kanalopoulos. It's over to the left-hand side now, and Olila, the substitute, tries to go by Devlin, gets by him at the first attempt, but Devlin gets back and forces him to go backwards to the other side, infield to Lingman, pass infield, bang in the middle of the pitch for Ten Hag, through the line to Rogic, turns, gives it forward to Suiri on the right hand side. He's forced from the box out to the touchline. Here's Rogic back up the touchline to De Graca, the centre half, and Rogic has it on the right hand touchline, squeezes it up the line to Suiri and back infield to Rogic. That's nice from Helsinki. Now Suiri has it back, the wing back, infield again to Rogic. McGrath can't intercept back, and Helsinki just quickening the pace of their passing, but then it's good pressure from Aberdeen. Helsinki do just keep a hold of it, and they have it on the far side through Olila, infield. And now it's the visitors' turn to put the foot on the ball, and they'll have to start again. Duke pressures De Graca, who steps up nicely, fizzes the pass into Lingman in the centre circle, takes it on the turn. He's still got the ball, left-footed pass along the deck to Keskinen, long way from goal still. Olila on the left-hand touchline, forced back, and again it's forced all the way back. Not too productive, that one from Helsinki. It's all the way back to the goalkeeper. Aberdeen keeping their shape well enough.
Yeah, they're well organised, that's for sure. And as you say, Thomas, you know, they're keeping their shape, and Helsinki are struggling to break them down, despite, you know, decent passages of play. They're not really hurting Aberdeen. Radulovic, he's a big lad, and he doesn't want to get involved in the physical side. He wants to come off and, you know, try and have touches. Well, he looks the type that I would be asking him to stay up high up the pitch and hold the ball in, and he struggles to do it, as we've just seen again there. He gives the ball away under pressure from Shinnie.
And Clarkson finds Miofsky in the box. It's running towards the byline. Miofsky keeps it in with the left foot. He's cut it back to McGrath, left foot, but he's crashed the shot miles wide of the target into the Richard Donald stand. It was a difficult chance, but a chance nonetheless, Willie Miller.
Yeah, it was a difficult one, but you expect him, you know, with the left foot there to get it on target.
He's capable, isn't he?
He is capable. You expect him to do better. I think that's because of the quality that he does possess. It's a decent piece of build-up play. I think it was always going to be difficult for Majowski to make anything of it. He actually did extremely well to get it back to McGrath, but I was expecting better from him.
He's put in some shift, Jamie McGrath, that's for sure.
Yep.
2 goals in his last 3 games as well. Here come Helsinki. Here's Rogic, takes it on the turn just inside the Aberdeen half, gives it infield to Radulovic, who likes to come deep. It's now with Rogic out towards the right hand side for Helsinki, then Lingman, little flick, but still unable to find a way through. Back with Rogic. Aberdeen closing the gaps, making sure they're going backwards. Here's Ten Hag, centre half and captain, gets it back, and it's forward for Rogic, collects it in the Aberdeen half, tussles with Shinnie, who gives away the free kick and then pulls the arms out wide to the referee and says, what have I done there?
Yeah, I mean, Rogic sees him coming and throws himself down, and I can see why the refs gave it. I mean, minimal contact, but very, very soft foul. I feel as the game's going on, you get the feel of, it's almost two sides who know the importance of this game and don't want to lose it, rather than really giving their all to go and win it.
Helsinki with the ball, De Graca back to Tenho, the centre half. Chips it. It's not the best pass for Lingman. As I mentioned, has scored up to Tawdry before. Not scored, assisted the goal that Ropes got. Ropes-Ropinniemi a couple of years ago. Aberdeen did go through in that first round qualifier, 4-2 in aggregate, 2-1 win in both legs. Looks a tidy player, and here's Sawiri on the right hand side, and he wanted Rogic to run in behind, but he didn't get it, and it's given away by Jensen to Sawiri, and then Jensen recovers by thudding into the tackle, which hits off Rogic and out for a throw-in on this near side.
I think the responsibility lies with the home side here. They're letting Helsinki dominate possession. They've got to get closer. They've got to get much closer to the ball. They've got to put pressure on the ball as well. I think the back lot have got to push up and close the space down to allow the players in front of them to do that. But I don't think they can let it go much longer with Helsinki dominating. Although they're not doing anything. But I think the fans will get a little bit frustrated, and then maybe the players kind of lose their composure a bit. So I think now really is the time to make sure that they're putting Helsinki under pressure, not allowing them to make these little nice pattern passes without really getting close and trying to disrupt it.
53 minutes played, still goalless between Aberdeen and Helsinki. Live on Sportsound as Helsinki go long from the goalkeeper. Rubizic gets the shout from Jensen to leave it, and Jensen controls it. Well, Helsinki have scored in their last 12 games. Aberdeen only 2 clean sheets in 12 this season, but it's not really played out with the goals that you might have expected from that statistic. Still time. Here's Clarkson, right hand side, gives it down the touchline, infield for McGrath, who failed to take it under his spell, and it's turned over. Helsinki will try and play out. Do look neat and tidy when they are given space, but not too much penetration. There's a strong tackle on that far side, and Aberdeen get the free kick, and they will get the ball back 0-0. And Aberdeen, you can't stress enough the importance of the home games in European competition, especially this one, the side that on paper they are most likely to beat. Here's Jensen, left-footed pass up towards the edge of the box. Duke goes down, there was nothing in that. He appeals, but he's just lost his balance. Then he gets it on the chest from the throw-in, gives it to McKenzie, back to Jensen up the touchline, infield for Shinnie, who's got 3 blue and white shirts around him and has to send it back, and Clarkson scampers after it, collects it. Miofsky made the run. Clarkson feigned to go long for him, but thought better of it, gives it to Rubizic, who spreads the play out to the right hand side this time, and Gartenman, who is going to look for Miofsky this time, or Duke in fact, but was between the two of them, and De Graca said thanks very much and picked up. And now here come Helsinki with Radulovic. He's put it out to Olila on the left hand side. Keskinen's come in. It's Keskinen on the far side. Olila's come in field. Keskinen, he's got Devlin for company out on that left hand touchline. Devlin does well. Kanelopoulos back to Keskinen up the line to Raitala, puts the foot through it. They go high, and Rogic gets a flick on. McKenzie controls it on the thigh and then does enough to nudge it up to Clarkson. Clarkson's pass for Duke is intercepted by De Graca, and here comes Lingman midway through the Aberdeen half. Left foot pass along the deck to his midfield partner Kanelopoulos, out to the left hand side, and Olila infield, and it's quite slow from Helsinki when they have the ball. They're patient though. Here's Tenho out to Sawiri, who's one-on-one with McKenzie. Does a little rollover, comes into the right hand side of the box, comes in, flashes the left footed shot, but they got right underneath it and it sailed into the Merkland stand. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, it's Clarkson who gives the ball away, but I feel a little bit for him because he needs Duke to stand and take the pass there, but Duke wants to run in behind and the pass is never on and the ball gets turned over, and that's the first time really Helsinki, they've been quite passive even in the final third, but it's the first sign there of them getting a little iron on goal. So Aberdeen, as Willie said, just need to be careful, and Barry Robson maybe needs to do something to turn the tide here.
Yeah, Miofsky loses out and it's back with Helsinki, although it's a good challenge from McGrath on Radalovic. But again, Aberdeen lose the second contest, and now you're Sawiri on the right-hand touchline in Aberdeen territory. Karnalopoulos, Lingman is going to come forward. Left-footed pass along the deck. Here's Radalovic up towards the edge of the penalty area. Out to Olila. Left-footed across the back post, where Rogic was sliding in. He wasn't too near to getting on the end of it, but it's a dangerous cross, and it's stirred the home crowd here.
Yeah, well, I think they've been stirring for, a few minutes, for most of this second half, because Aberdeen are not getting close enough to the opposition, and Barry Robson will be frustrated. I think they're looking at perhaps making a substitution. I feel in the midfield, Rory, that they don't have enough players in the midfield. They've got to do something to try to combat the kind of overrun that Helsinki have in that area, because they're now beginning to control the ball and the tempo of the game.
Connor Barron maybe gets a foot on the ball, plays it forward, but it's Aberdeen have it with McGrath. It's broken for him, goes in behind, Dukes onto it, he gets there before the goalkeeper shot saved, and then the flag goes up. Is it for offside, or is it the free kick for Miofsky who's gone down? It's offside, I think, against Duke, and Miofsky wanted the free kick. Well, Duke's effort was saved anyway.
It did look a foul. Yeah. Duke doesn't know he's offside, and again, you have to say at this level you need to lift it over the goalkeeper and try and do better there. Yeah, I can see it's Connor Barron coming on, Thomas, but I reckon you've seen that before you made that prediction. I'm not giving you that one.
Absolutely did not. Just inside the head of Barry Robson, clearly. Here is Connor Barron, he's going to come on. It's going to be Leighton Clarkson to make way. Connor Barron does a few jumps to warm up. Well, Barry Robson has clearly spotted what the guys have been talking about. Just a lack of control, Willie, in midfield.
Yeah, I mean, they've been overrun there. I think the wing backs have got to play a part in it as well. But certainly the three in the midfield, I don't think it was working at all. They weren't getting close enough. There was no trigger. I'm expecting Shinnie to be the one that maybe he goes and then the other two just follow up behind him to put the Helsinki midfield under much more pressure. They've got to get closer to them in there, because so far in this second half it's a away team that's dominating possession.
Throw in for Helsinki on this near side in line with the Aberdeen penalty area. It's infield to Radalovic, back to Sawiri, who collects it again and takes a really good touch. Can he keep it in on the byline? He can, gets the cross away. It falls for Radalovic, who sticks it above Kelarus into the roof of the net, and the visitors strike first blood at Pittodrie, and you can't say it hasn't been coming. It's Aberdeen 0, Helsinki 1.
Yeah, and what a finish that is. I said Radalovic looked like a penalty box striker, not involved in the game at all. One chance, boom, goal. Dukes had opportunities, Miofsky's had one, Jensen's had one. That is the difference. And I did say when Aberdeen were on top, they had to score. I think there were faint calls for handball in the build-up, so we'll see. Didn't look like that for me, and I think Nicky Devlin was complaining about it, so we'll wait and see what happens. But Aberdeen find themselves 1-0 down, and quite the finish from Radalovic, I must say.
Yeah, it's good play, and they've dominated play, and you could actually see it coming, couldn't you? Because they've grown in confidence, they've grown in stature, and that's because Aberdeen haven't really get close to them, particularly in that midfield there. Excellent play though. The cross comes in. Radalovic, he knows exactly what he's wanting to do there, doesn't he? He knows where Roos is. He plays it with a bit of height and enough away from the goalkeeper to drill it into the back of the net. I mean, that's the type of player he looks. He looks as though, is he really that interested?
Comes alive in the box.
Nah, when in the box, bang.
Well, the goal has been given, and on we go, and Aberdeen have to come from behind just as he's made the change to try and wrestle back control, with Connor Barron on for Clarkson. And Radolovic's 23rd goal of this season means Aberdeen have it all to do in the final half hour here at Pittodrie if they want a result.
That's not an easy finish, Thomas. It really isn't. He's actually guided that with the inside of his foot into the, don't know if it was the far corner, but certainly got enough on it to be out of Kelarus, who's a good goalkeeper and a big goalkeeper, out of his reach. He cut back, was it pace as well?
He's hit it with a bit of curl as well, away from the goalkeeper. Knows exactly what he's doing, just wrapping his foot round it.
got to credit Sowiri as well with a brilliant touch into space and cross.
Brilliant.
He spotted the gap and he got to it and cut it back brilliantly. And it's just one swift move and finish, and Aberdeen cut open. And all their decent work in the first half undone. Jensen throws it in. It bounces in the Helsinki box. No one in red can get on the end of it. Barron scampers after it. He gives the pass out to Devlin, but there's a Helsinki player, Keskinen, I think, over on the far side, slides in and concedes the throw in.
Every single time that happens, Aberdeen win the first one and Helsinki get the second.
Oh, and it's flashed right across the 6-yard box. The first clearance was missed by Helsinki, and it's going to be sent back in by Gartenmann for Duke, but it's headed away by Tenho. But you're right, Rory, there's no kind of second wave from Aberdeen.
No, and you've got to be expecting, you know, whether it's Jensen or Rubizic or whoever, you've got to be expecting him to win it, because they've won, you know, 60-70% of the balls that have been thrown in. So I'm not quite sure why they aren't more alive in the box and attacking.
Here's Gartenmann up the right-hand touchline, gets it back. It's just inside Helsinki half onto Rubizic, and Aberdeen have it all to do. And this was, you know, 3 wins in a row. This is the first of 4 home games in a row, and they want to do as well as they can, particularly here at Pittodrie, but they've not only won 1 game here in their 4 that they've played this season so far. It's long, and it's going to break for Miofsky on the edge of the box. He thought about the shot, then he gives it to McKenzie, who's just inside the penalty area, left-hand side, crosses into the near post, and then it's deflected away just past the goal over on the far side. The fans claim Duke was fouled in the box. It didn't look like it from here. He went down, and it's cleared, and Helsinki breathe a sigh of relief.
Well, why is it taken for Helsinki to score for Aberdeen to flash 2 across the box? You know, they've been in the possessions. There was one just before half-time, and they played about with the ball for I don't know how long, and it still didn't come in the box. So I don't know why it's taken for Helsinki to score for Aberdeen to really look at getting the ball across the box and into those areas.
Well, here come Aberdeen. McKenzie infield to Barron. There was just a huge gap in the middle of the pitch, massive green space that was begging for someone in red to stand in and receive the ball, but there was no one there. They've had to force it out to the wing on the far side. McGrath does really well, though, to use his body on the far side and win a foul, and a chance for Aberdeen to deliver, although Clarkson has gone off.
Yeah, but they just started the second half so tamely. Aberdeen, you know, I was expecting them to come out, you know, with a lot of fire in their play, and they didn't show that. They were pretty passive and they sat off. And I don't think that's a bad move either, getting McKenzie, who has done well. I'm not saying anything about McKenzie defensively, but Johnny Hayes much more direct down that left-hand side. You know, the wing-backs need to take part in the game. I don't think they have taken part in the second half.
Johnny Hayes on for his 29th European appearance for Aberdeen. Can he make an impact? Can Conor Barron with this delivery? Right foot into the box, headed, first contact falls for Jamie McGrath, left foot to shot, blocked. Again, it was wide of the goal that he was taking the swipe from. Helsinki have bodies back, and they've got something to protect now. Leading by a goal to nil here in the second half. We've played 64.5 minutes at Pittodrie. Radulovic strike on the hour is the difference between the sides. Thrown in by Jensen, headed away. Gartenmann out to Jensen on the left-hand side. He's going to deliver with a left foot. De Graca heads away. And now here's Keskinen, and Helsinki will just look for these opportunities on the counter-attack. Oh, it's loose, it's come off an Aberdeen player. Miofsky will go after it, and it's stabbed out for a throw-in on the far side. The crowds are on their feet. They want more of that pressure. Aberdeen take the throw quickly. Here's Gartenmann. Jensen, left foot up towards the back edge of the box, but Miofsky sent scampering after it, and he does collect it, and then he gets the pass away, and it's cut back, blocked. Aberdeen just about fashioning something from nothing there. Miofsky doing brilliantly. Helsinki have it on the far touchline. Aberdeen get bodies forward in pressure, and a goal kick is given, much to the fury of the fans in the Richard Donald stand, but it remains Aberdeen 0, Helsinki 1.
But it's much more like it. You know, get close to the opposition players.
Why does it take going 1-0 down for them to do that, though? It's frustrating to watch.
It really is, Rory, you know, because they had large spells of the first half where they were on top. The game was there to win. They come out in the second half, and they go about it tamely. You know, I'm expecting much more energy, much more enthusiasm, much more belief, and they lose the goal, and now Helsinki look as though they're quite happy. It might be that Aberdeen can get something from it, because maybe they're going to go a little bit more passive and just try to hold on to the 1-0 lead.
Hayes receives the pass from Jensen, first time gives it on, and it's from McGrath to Duke, then forward for Shinnie, who's going to help it to the left hand side of McGrath. He's not the quickest McGrath, but he's going to try and outpace De Graca, who gets back, puts a sliding challenge in, and it's deflected into the arms of the goalkeeper Öst, and Helsinki will breathe again and just eat up whatever time they can and take the sting out of this game and the crowds. They have this game right where they want it after that goal, and they have come out the better side in the second half, and Aberdeen have been made to pay. Long ball, Hayes gets the head on it, only as far as Lingman, drops the shoulder, comes in field, gives the pass to Kanalopoulos. De Graca in his own half, up to halfway. Suiri, brilliant assist for that goal, really driving to the byline before cutting it back. Here's Öst, sends the ball long with the right foot, but no one in the Helsinki jerseys need it. Jensen controls it on the chest. He's found a left-footed pass to McGrath, flicks it on first time to Miofsky, and then it was hooked back to the goalkeeper. Barron gets the head on it, finds Jamie McGrath, who's been brilliant for Aberdeen. Devlin back towards the halfway line, and Garteman. Barron takes on the turn and drives forward to the heart of the Helsinki defence, but he's robbed with a brilliant challenge by Keskinen, who was tracking back and just hooked it away with a sliding challenge. And then here's Olila, runs it up to halfway, gives it back to Radulovic, the goal scorer, who squeezes it back down the touchline, and it's cleared by the centre half up to the touchline. Barron's touch is not a great one, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side. Aberdeen 0, Helsinki 1, 68 minutes played nearly.
It's better, and there's still time to turn this game round as well, but they're going to need to keep up the same amount of energy, the same desire, the same pressure that they've shown since that goal went in against them. And unfortunately, the second half start was so poor. They've got themselves
going in, turned over. Duke into the left-hand corner of the box. He searches in. That's another brilliant backtracking, sliding challenge from a Finnish defender, and it'll be a corner to Aberdeen, but that's better.
Yeah, it is. Helsinki trying to overplay at the back again. Aberdeen nick the ball. Through goes Duke, and they get the corner out of it.
Barron will go across the take. Helsinki fans, 50, 60 of them over on that far side now, jumping up and down. Corner's going to come in with the right foot. Connor Barron right to the back post. Again, no one in red can get on the end of it. Shinnie on the edge of the area, back to Barron, takes a touch, delivers again with the right foot to the near post. Gartenman was there, he's claiming the corner, he gets it. Another corner to Aberdeen.
Yeah, and that's the type of pressure that you've got to keep on them. Get them pinned in their own box. Constant pressure, winning set pieces as well. Good deliveries into the box. That was an excellent delivery into the box from the prior corner kick.
Barron in again. It's headed away unconvincingly. It's still in the box, then hits off the referee, and Aberdeen play on. They have it. Cross comes in by Hayes. Again, doesn't beat the first man. Back out to Barron, who's seen a lot of the ball since he's come on. Fires it in with the right foot into the box. Again, it's defended all the way back with Nicky Devlin on halfway. His right-footed pass is not a great one, and Shinnie has to go after it. He's under pressure, but that's really good composure from Shinnie to just chip it down the touchline, the right-hand touchline, for a teammate. He gets it back, left-footed pass along the deck to McGrath, 30 yards from goal, along to Barron, left-hand corner of the box. One more to Hayes on the left-hand side, drops his shoulder, goes for the byline. Johnny Hayes dinks it into the box. It falls for Shinnie. Swiped fresh air, then headed back in. Tenho heads it back away again. McGrath onto Barron. Aberdeen looking to lift the pace. Barron looks for the running by Miofsky. Saved by Öst. Tips it over the bar. Aberdeen piling on the pressure.
Oh, well, the initial one, where was that sweet left-footed strike from Shinnie that we've seen in Dingwall? We would have loved to have seen it here tonight. Massive opportunity.
Corner goes short. Miofsky fires it across, and again it beats every single player in there. It's a brilliant ball across the face. Out the other side, Shinnie with a left foot sends it to the back post. Barron has it, comes inside, goes for the strike at goal, and spilled it, and it's touched wide of the post, and it's gone out for a corner kick.
Yeah, he's fumbled it, hasn't he? Ost has fumbled the shot, and I think it was Duke that's went in. I think he's managed maybe to just get a touch on it, the goalkeeper, but he should have taken it cleanly, because it wasn't a particularly good strike, was it?
No, and I thought Duke might have got a touch on that and it was going to drop in the corner, but the goalkeeper must have just hooked it behind just in time. And there's, well, it's actually a goal kick. The flags, I don't know what happened there, but the referee's changed his mind.
Between Shinnie, Miovski, Barron, Jensen, Duke, I don't know how Aberdeen haven't scored a goal tonight, and it seems to be, I don't know whether it's just a little bit of a mental block with the European games and things like that, but they did well over in Frankfurt and they scored a goal, but they'll be kicking themselves, and this is going to be a massive opportunity missed if they can't get back into this game. But they've still got 20 minutes, and they don't deserve to be behind, so fingers crossed they can get back into it.
Yeah, I thought Miovski might have shown a little bit more composure with the chance. He had a bit of a swipe at it and didn't really catch it. It was more almost like just make contact with it, good contact.
Barry Robson, he's over screaming at his troops, asking the game to be, the pace to be quickened, and he goes, it's Helsinki who take the throw, and it's over to the far side, and it's run too much for Keskin. It'll be an Aberdeen throw on the far side. But yeah, I just wonder, Willie, Aberdeen, Barry Robson seems to have almost worked it out when they're the team that aren't expected to dictate play. They get a good shape, they counter and they're well, but when it's them that are asked to ask the question, to control, to dictate, they seem to struggle a bit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate, but in saying that, Thomas, the second half started so poorly that they gave the initiative to the opposition, and Barry Robson will be furious with that. They've now got themselves back in the game. They're dictating the game. They've had opportunities, they've had chances, but yeah, I think they're a team that is better set up to defend and hitting the break, better with the opposition coming at them rather than Aberdeen going at the opposition. But as I said, there's still time in this game to turn it round. They've been unfortunate, lately, and not getting the equaliser. But they've got to, keep the belief going, keep the pressure up as well, and keep creating opportunities.
Yeah, well, they've got home games, St Johnstone on Sunday and Dundee as well at home in the league to come, and they'll be expected to be on the front foot at home against those sides. And they need to be on the front foot here. It's a pass from Jensen forward to Duke. De Gracke with a good challenge on Duke, and he's looked good off the bench as he's come on, very composed as he drives up towards the halfway line. He's away from a couple, and then Barron thuds into a challenge to dispossess him. It falls for Sawiri though, and then over to the far side to Hetemai, who has come on from the substitutes bench for Helsinki, and he's a kind of attacking midfielder, good technically, over 250 appearances in Serie A with Chievo and others, so experienced. And will maybe look to try and hold on to the ball when it comes up. It's sent long. Gartenmann's underneath it, gets the low clearance up the field. Lingman receives it, and then Devlin picks up the loose ball. It hits off, and he gets it back though, and he's going to go after it. Devlin is going to get the cross in. It's into the near post, but the goalkeeper watched it all the way and flung himself down on the ball. Still Aberdeen 0, Helsinki 1.
Yeah, I think Barry Robson's biggest frustration, because I agree with everything Willie said there. At the bigger venues, when they're not really expected to win the match, Aberdeen have been, Barry Robson always sends a team out and knows exactly what he's going to get from them in terms of their organisation, but when they are asked. But all that being said, I mean, they could have scored 3-4 goals tonight, no problem, and I think his biggest frustration will be that Helsinki have had 2 half chances, scored a goal, and Aberdeen have had 3-4 clear-cut chances, and there's a big knock next to their name, which is, it must be frustrating as a manager, because you can't control that. You can control it up to a point, but if you're creating chances, you're expecting your players to score at least one of them, because I think Aberdeen have played pretty well tonight.
Yeah, but it's all about getting that vital goal, and it's worth saying, that the coefficient points to make qualification easier are important, as is the money you get for winning games in Europe. It's the whole equation. Hearts managed to win 2 against Riga last season, and it does go a long way to bolstering the coffers, even if you can't qualify out the section. And Aberdeen are not done yet. 75 played. They trail by a goal to 0. Throw-in comes in. It's back to Gartenmann, who sends it in with the right foot into the box, headed away to Jensen, left foot, looks for Shinnie in behind, but again De Gracke stood in the way, and now Helsinki are on the counter. Here's Radulovic, the goal scorer, back to Hetemai, gives it to Radulovic on the right hand side, all the way back to Sawiri, infield now to Tenho, and he sends it out to the left-hand side where Olila is waiting, and he's crossed across the 6-yard box, and Radulovic was there. The goal was gaping, he got a toe on it, but it squirms well wide of the goal.
Just too far away from him, the striker, Radulovic. He's sliding in there, he's got a big long leg. For a second I thought that he might make good enough contact on it, but it was just too much of a stretch for him. He gets his toe on it, but it goes, pretty wide of the goal. But on the break, another lesson for Aberdeen to make sure that they are solid at the back.
Here's Miovski, takes a touch on the edge of the box. Duke uses his body, goes down. The referee says too easily. Shinnie has it back on the edge of the box, left hand side for Hayes. Low cross in. Miovski was sliding in, but the goalkeeper comes out claiming the ball. But Duke, well, he sometimes is guilty of that.
Yeah, he is. He's went down there. There's nobody near him. He's very fortunate the referee just waves play on and doesn't actually take a yellow card out for him. But Miovski's not far away from that cross into the box. He's sliding in this time and just can't make contact with it. A couple of chances at either end. The game is certainly swinging from end to end with 2 chances being created, but the striker's not been able to take them.
Aberdeen trailing by a 1-0 in their Group G Conference League match, a second match in the section, having lost out in Frankfurt. A brave performance that could have yielded more. This performance here certainly could have yielded more to this stage, but it's the Finns that are on top, and Sweary comes down the right, loses out, Jensen, and then Bande, who has also come on for the visitors. And he, as I mentioned pre-match, Ajax paid £7 million for him a few years ago from Mechelen, and Bruce takes a risky touch, gets it away to Rubezic. Yeah, Bande, he broke his leg in 2 places just after joining and never played. Switch of play looking for Devlin. Olila heads it away. McGrath, who's never stopped running, collects it. He's actually let it run out for the throw-in. He's looking for an option from the throw-in. Doesn't have one. Barron screams for it. Goes back to Gartenman. Has to let it run across his body and goes back to the goalkeeper. And that's why the fans in the main stand are groaning. Well, they wanted that to go forward. Now Jensen sends it forward to the left foot. Duke out jump, but it falls for Miovski on the header! Goal Aberdeen! And it's that man, Bojan Miovski again. Their man of the season has rescued them. And it's Aberdeen 1, Helsinki 1.
He just takes it, some brilliant positioning there. Just drifts away from the defender. Gets a bit of good fortune with the defender not clearing the ball with the header, and it's actually the Helsinki defender that plays it onto him. But then he's going to put that into the back of the net. It's a tight call for him. He hits it across with the head, and it comes in off the inside of the post and nestles in the back of the net. But that's what he's got. He's got quality in the box. Yeah, and it's the first one that he's not had to think about. It's literally just come into him on the move, and he's headed it straight into the corner. Aberdeen deserved that, thoroughly deserved that equaliser, and it's one apiece in the battle of the Bojans, Thomas.
Well, is there going to be a winner in that one? And listen to this old place now. And Aberdeen will smell blood, but it's Helsinki of the ball. De Graca at the back. Duke hounds him down in field. Good quick combination, but Barron gets across, gets tackle in on Radulovic, and then he gets another challenge in, and Aberdeen are breaking with Miovski. It's 3-on-3. Miovski stabs it through. It's too far ahead of Barron. He's just going to get there. No, he's not. De Graca slides in ahead. Barron battles back, wins it, pulls it back to Miovski. On to Shinnie with a left-footed strike over the crossbar. But Aberdeen, that was much better on the counter from the Dons.
Oh, fantastic to watch. They're playing with a lot of energy, a lot of tempo, but they're making good decisions in good areas. And I have to say, since Helsinki scored, it was a source of frustration for me that we hadn't seen that at nothing each in the second half. But it seems as though that goal for Helsinki has been the best thing that could happen for Aberdeen, because they're full of momentum now, and fingers crossed they can grab another.
80 minutes played, 1-1. Time for either side to win this yet. Long from Ust, the goalkeeper. Devlin's going to pick up the second ball in his own half. He sends it long with the right foot, and Duke's in behind. He looked offside. Flag stays down for now. Duke in through in the box, takes a shot. Ust with a save. Duke denied, and the flag has stayed down as well. What a chance!
Well, huge chance, isn't it? They switch off the Helsinki defenders, totally switched off, and Duk's in. I mean, he hits it with a lot of power, but it's a good save from Oost. Somebody's getting booked down here as well. I think it's the Helsinki manager, is it, that's been shown a yellow card?
It is indeed, Tony Korkiakunas.
But he reads that so well. Duke, he gets onto it. He does everything just about right, other than it doesn't end up in the back of the net.
Corner in, headed away by Tenho in the 6-yard area. Aberdeen want to pile on the pressure here. Pass along to Rubizic, who's in the centre circle. Takes a couple of touches, gives it infield to Devlin. He's in the middle of the pitch. Right-footed pass out to Gartenman, who's closed down by Bandit. It's deflected up in the air. Olila collects, the left back. Finds Radulovic on the halfway line. Rubizic again has followed him all the way, and then Shinnie comes across to get the foot in, and the pass was either meant for Shinnie or Duke, but it found neither. And then Oost, the goalkeeper for Helsinki, sticks it up into the sky, and the referee's fallen over and then played a pass. Oh dear, he's having a nightmare. He's got in the way of one and he's fallen over for another.
Yeah, he's won a couple of headers and won a couple of tackles tonight, hasn't he?
He's getting stuck in. Fair play. And the bounce ball goes back to Connor Barron on the halfway line, and he's made a difference off the bench, you have to say. Out to Gartenman, Rubizic. Aberdeen looking for what would be a 4th consecutive win. And the pass for Jensen in behind. Duke's going to go all the way after it, and he just about keeps it in. No, it's gone behind. Did it come off him or did it come off the Graka? I think it's come off Duke. Goal kick. Or some howls for a penalty, but it was Pauk.
He was thinking about it, the Graka. He was thinking about wrestling him to the ground. He had the arms out. I don't know if there was. I don't think there was too much contact, but he did think about it. But again, Duke, going in behind, better way to pass. He might have just got there. A little bit unfortunate, but the threat is there. The threat is there.
I think
with that pace.
The problem with Duke at times is the boy who cried wolf a little. He throws himself to the ground so easily that when that type of situation occurs, you just almost assume that there's no contact and he's went down too easily. But I've really enjoyed this last 15-20 minutes from Aberdeen, I have to say.
Pauk leading Eintracht Frankfurt by 2-1 at the death over in Greece. Is there going to be a winner here? 83.5 played. I'll have added time as well, of course, and it's 1-1. Miovski cancelling out Radulovic's opener for Helsinki. Both goals in the second half here on Sports Sound. Will there be a dramatic conclusion? Rubizic has the ball at the back for Aberdeen. Camley strokes it to Jensen. Jensen with the left foot along the deck to Hayes. Infield to McGrath, who's been outstanding. Gives it back to Jensen. Left foot scoops it over the Helsinki player to Hayes, who's come in field, then out to McGrath, who's on the left-hand touchline. He's got Duke up in front of him. It's 2v2 here on this left-hand side. Duke with the ball, looks for a pass. Hayes offers the option back down the line. He takes it. Hayes with the right foot back to Jensen. Jensen in field to Barron, who's got a bit of space to just jog into. And then eventually Kanalopoulos goes across to shut the space down, and Barron has to go back to Rubizic, who in turn moves it along to Jensen. Jensen with the left footed pass. Duke's made the run into the box. He's onto the byline, squeezes it across, and has to be lashed over behind for a corner. And Tenho has pulled up as well with a bit of cramp in the box.
I was expecting Miovski to make the run towards the near post there. It was on for it, wasn't it? You could see it. Duke gets to the byline. He does well to cut it back, but Miovski's just still lingering at his back post instead of making that run towards the front.
That ball down the side of the end between the wing back and the either side of the centre backs has caused Helsinki problems all night. Well, it really has.
Jensen's wrapped his foot around the few, his left foot, and found Duke. It's going to be a corner to Aberdeen. Thinking about the short option here. Barron and Hayes are over. They're having a little conversation. And
he's get cramped. Come on.
Yeah. Aberdeen fans are not happy. There's Nico Hamalainen, the former Killie player, is about to come on. Never won at Pittodrie with Kilmarnock. That one season he spent on loan from QPR. Finnish international. He's a good player for Kilmarnock. Good delivery from the left. And he's about to come on. for the final 4.5 minutes of the 90 plus whatever is added at the end. And Esther Sockler is also going to come on for Aberdeen, but this is not really what Aberdeen want. It's another just delay. Nicky Devlin's come across to speak to Barry Robson and get some instructions, and it's going to be Sockler who is going to come on for Aberdeen, and it's going to be Nicky Devlin actually who's going to be replaced, which I don't think was immediately clear to him when he came across. And Esther Sockler, so Aberdeen are going for this, and Hamalainen is also on to defend this set piece. Aberdeen corner. Connor Barron stands over it. Chance. They've had a lot of balls into the Helsinki box. Can they make another pay? Barron with a right foot curls it into the 6-yard box, and there's an Aberdeen head on it, but it's glanced wide. They're claiming for a corner, and the far side linesman and the referee have signalled for a goal kick. If that was Rubizic who got his head on it, but it went well wide of the post.
I think it was Sockler, was it?
Yeah,
not?
I think it was Sockler, yeah.
Just on the pitch, it would have been his first touch. You could see he was disappointed that he didn't get enough on it. But another good delivery into the box, and the deliveries have been excellent tonight.
PAOK have beaten Frankfurt by 2-1 in Greece. Here's Soiri. Infield, here's Hayes. Aberdeen have the ball at the back. Jensen back to Kellerus. 87 minutes played here at Pataudry. It's 1-1 between Aberdeen and Helsinki. Richard Jensen playing against many of his international teammates this evening. Rolls it to Rubizic. Gartenmann on the other side, on the right hand side. Up the line to McGrath, has to go back to Gartenmann. On to Rubizic. Aberdeen almost trying to lure Helsinki out before pinging one of those balls in behind that Duke has successfully gathered, and it's up towards Sockler, and it bounces away from him and into the arms of Jesse Oost, the Helsinki goalkeeper, and he just takes a few steps, bounces the ball, and you think from this position Helsinki would probably take a point away from home.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Aberdeen deserve to win the match, I really do. On chances created, Helsinki had a 15-minute spell at the start of the second half. Out with that, I think Aberdeen have been the better side.
And Duke has won a tussle on this near sides with Soiri. There was arms everywhere, and Soiri hit the deck, and he's still on the deck, and it's a free kick to the visitors, and Duke perhaps getting a taste of his own medicine there.
They'll just want to break play up, won't they? They'll take every opportunity just to go down, to try to one free kicks, just to stop any momentum that Aberdeen can get in these dying moments. But Rory's right, I think Aberdeen deserve to win. They should have been able to take more of the chances that they've created.
It's long for Helsinki, bounces over Rubizic. Jensen gets a head on it in his own box, out to Hayes on the left hand side, infield to Rubizic, who had to step in and just got a touch ahead of Hetamai, and he had no option to step in and almost prod it out for a throw in.
What we would give for 10 minutes of added time here, because I think Aberdeen could do with it, and I reckon might break down that door, but I don't know how many minutes will be added on at the end of this half.
It's Helsinki in possession though. Here's Radulovic, who's come across this near side to receive the throw in. He loses out. Shinnie to Duke, just keeps in on the touchline. It hits back off him, and he's got the throw. I think
he was off the pitch.
Fair enough. And it's Jensen who's going to take this throw in for Aberdeen. They've managed to get themselves back level through Bojan Miovski, 8th goal of the season. And he's flicked the ball on, and Sockler's gone in behind. Sockler, and it's pulled back for a free kick. Duke is penalised.
It is. It's a free kick.
Yeah. There's absolutely no need for it either.
No.
Just that over-eagerness we're talking about.
He tries to trick the referee into thinking it's an Aberdeen foul by fouling the Helsinki player.
6 added minutes at Pataudry. Barry Robson's querying why there isn't more. He's having a word with the fourth official, or perhaps he's querying that decision. He's querying something anyway. Polish fourth official getting an earful. And it's going to be a free kick, which is taken by the Helsinki goalkeeper Jesse Oost, long with the right foot towards the left hand corner of the Aberdeen box. Bandy collects it, miscontrols. Shinnie goes in with a strong challenge. It's come away with it. Here's Helsinki, given away to Rubizic. Shinnie picks up, Gartenmann edge of his own box. Shinnie caught late by Bandy. Aberdeen keen to get on with it through Jensen, gives it to Barron. up to Duke, who's just inside the Helsinki half. He's got not a huge amount of space to work with. He's going to try and drive down the wing. He's away from Lingman, who comes back at him, and then he tries to go past back to Hayes. He's got the ricochet of the ball, gets it back. Duke plays it into Shinnie, gives it back out to the left where Barron is. Barron drives in field, lovely little back heel into space for Shinnie. Then on to Hayes on the left hand side. He's going to float the cross into the back post. The keeper's left it, and perhaps he was right to, because it took a bounce and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, in fairness, Johnny Hayes' delivery since he's come on has been top class. Just that one there was a little bit of snow on it, as they say, a little bit too high, a little bit too loopy. Didn't really give his teammates in the box any chance of going and attacking it, and it falls out of play and into Helsinki's hands.
We've played 1 minute of the 6 added at Pittodrie. It's Aberdeen 1, Helsinki 1. It's been an enthralling contest. It's their time for another twist in the tail. Clearance downfield over Shinnie's head. Jensen with a left-footed pass for Hayes. He's under pressure from Hetama. He gets a throw-in off the midfielder, and he takes the throw-in quickly to Duke, who controls it off the chest. It skips away from him, and then Hayes goes after it, and then his touch goes out for a throw-in on this near side. Richard Jensen applauds the spirit and effort down that touchline, but doesn't come off for Aberdeen, and Helsinki will just eat up a few seconds.
Yeah, you'll always get that off of Johnny Hayes, the enthusiasm, the directness. He's been that type of player throughout his career, just a little bit unfortunate with the touch on that occasion. Gartenman
helps it forward into the Helsinki half. Cleared downfield by Hämäläinen. Bounces about. Hetama gets a foot on it, but he's put it backwards, and Shinnie almost stole in, but the midfielder hooked it away out to this left-hand side. Olila goes after it, as does McGrath. There's a bit of argy-bargy out for an Aberdeen throw on the far side. Still time. Thrown back to Roos. The crowds urge on the men in red. Jensen, long ball with the left foot. It's high. De Graka's under it. Oh, he's not dealt with it properly, but it doesn't fall for Miofsky. Falls for Hämäläinen, who manages to clear Bande. Passes it back. Here's Suiri. Right-footed pass towards Radulovic. Jensen wins the header though, but second ball falls for Hetama. Gives it infield to Bande. Turns away from Shinnie. Helps on to Kanalopoulos, who goes back. He's been caught slightly by Miofsky, but Olila tries to cross. It's blocked. Breaks in field for Bande, who's got it on the right foot. He's going to try and ping it to the back post, but Radulovic was not on the move, and it's behind for a goal kick to Aberdeen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about controlled, getting the ball forward, but with a bit of control. There's still a few minutes to turn this game round. Maybe 3 minutes left in the game. It'd be disappointing if Aberdeen couldn't do that. They have turned the game around, there's no doubt about that, after a very sluggish start to the second half. Free kick given there, and it just disrupts the momentum again.
Yeah, Hetama caught. Shinnie is protesting, and Aberdeen frustrated, and Shinnie is furiously telling the opposition to get to his feet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if his frustration's at the referee or not there, but I have to say I think the referee's had a really good game. He's let the game flow, and he's pulled things back when they've needed to pull back. I think he's had a really good game, and he's added to the spectacle.
And he's an experienced referee. Yeah, he's got stuck in as well.
A few nice touches as well.
He's a player out on the far side for a throw into Helsinki. Aberdeen not where they want to be, down defending their own penalty area. Olila goes across. I'm sure he'll be getting an earful from the south stand over there as he collects that ball, and he throws it to the feet of Radulovic. Gets it back, a wing back, and he's flicked it back to Radulovic, who looked offside. Flag stays down for now, and then it belatedly goes up. And Aberdeen, Connor Barron, he's been a live wire since he's come off the bench, put himself about. Balls into the box as well. Here Kellerus will send this up the park. He'll crash it into the Helsinki half. Here he goes, the big Dutchman with a right boot. Puts the foot through it. Sockler goes up. It's not a convincing challenge, and it breaks for Olila, who'll clear it downfield with a left foot. Rubizic with the aggressive challenge, wins the ball. It breaks for Johnny Hayes, who's in his own half, gives it to Jensen and peels out to get it back on the nearer to the touchline on this left hand side. He puts up the line to Duke, who tries to beat his man, gets a throw in. Hayes will aim to take it quickly, goes back to Jensen, who had no space, and he just leathered it with a left foot. and that is a hopeless ball that just goes straight out the park, and it's disappointing. And we're into the final, well, I would make about 30-40 seconds or so, and that might be that.
Yeah, you've got to show more composure than that. You know, I think you want to get the game moving, absolutely. You want to keep the tempo up. You've got to think about the game as well, and Jensen's in no position as a full-time whistle goes.
It's all over. There is no home victory in the Conference League for Aberdeen on this occasion, and they've played pretty well, you have to say, but they were made to rue. A sleepy start to the second period. They had the better of the play in the first half. Jensen, Duke and Miofsky all with chances, but the breakthrough came crucially, and Aberdeen were still in the dressing room almost from the half-time interval. Radulovic poaching in the box, cut back to him by Sawiri, and it was a wonderful finish, a truly wonderful finish from a man in form, up high into the roof of the net over Kelroos, who is a tall man. It was a fantastic finish, and Aberdeen had it all to do at that stage, but in fairness to them, and the manager Barry Robson, he made the changes. Conor Barron and others came on, and they upped the tempo, and they got some kind of reward in the equaliser in 78 minutes. Cross in from the left, cleared into the path of Bojan Miofsky, and he used all these sinews and fibres in his neck to just flick it in off the post and into the bottom corner. Aberdeen huffed and puffed, they kept going, they tried to find a winner, but they couldn't do it, and that is disappointing, because this was very much a winnable game on paper, and it was winnable on the night given the performance they put in. But at full time here at Pittodrie, it's finished Aberdeen 1, HJK Helsinki 1.
Aberdeen in the Europa Conference League.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.